Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Changing Life and Career. I planted the world tree at the beginning. Chapter 21. The next morning, Chen Yu woke up from his sleep, and before opening his eyes, he felt like he was holding something. Without thinking, he could basically confirm that it was a thorny vine monster. When he opened his eyes, it was indeed the case. However, today's thorny vine monster had changed compared to yesterday. Although most of its body was still tangled vines, it now had a layer of skin. This layer of skin was woven from white vines as thick as hair strands. Not only was it softer and more delicate, but it was also incredibly tough with astonishing defensive power. Its face also had facial features, unlike yesterday when it was terrifying. From a distance, it looked like a human girl. I think you're becoming more intelligent. Chen Yu felt the skin on the thorny vine monster's body and said with a serious tone. The thorny vine monster opened its mouth and forced out a very stiff smile. Great, keep up the good work. Chen Yu excitedly patted the thorny vine monster's head. It had already gained some intelligence, indicating that the next evolution was not far away. Xiao Yan and Xiao Feng were playing at the roots of the world tree. Xiao Feng seemed half asleep, half opening her eyes, motionless like a puppet, allowing Xiao Yan to do as he pleased. Xiao Yan took off all of Xiao Feng's clothes, then tore some leaves into a grass skirt and put it on Xiao Feng, giggling. Xiao Yan, don't bully Xiao Feng. Chen Yu walked over and grabbed Xiao Yan. Xiao Feng saw Chen Yu and her eyes became slightly more lively. She stood up and flew a circle in front of Chen Yu. Due to the poor quality of the grass skirt made by Xiao Yan, it all fell down in midair. Chen Yu took a closer look and found that Xiao Feng's figure was unexpectedly good. If proportionally enlarged, she would definitely be a fertility goddess. Unfortunately, she was still too small, so even if she had any ideas, she couldn't execute them. Rolling pin through the needle, it was simply impossible. Helplessly, Chen Yu picked up her little skirt and carefully put it back on her. In the future, you are not allowed to take off Xiao Feng's clothes randomly, especially outside, absolutely not allowed. Chen Yu sternly warned Xiao Yan. Oh, understood, master. Xiao Yan said grumpily, then secretly glanced at Chen Yu. Master, rest assured, I won't bully Xiao Feng anymore after you leave. Chen Yu's face twitched. I believe you, my foot. You can play by yourself for a while. Chen Yu picked up Xiao Feng, put her in his pocket, and then left the unsurpassable sacred ground. Xiao Yan watched helplessly as Chen Yu took Xiao Feng away, his face puffed up like a bun, his small mouth pouting high. Ding ding ding. As soon as Chen Yu appeared outside, his phone rang urgently. He opened his phone and saw a message from Principal Zhang Tianming, asking him to come to the office this morning. His roommates had already left. After washing up and having breakfast, Chen Yu went to the principal's office. In the office, Zhang Tianming was reviewing documents. When he saw Chen Yu walk in, he immediately waved at him. Chen Yu, come and sit here. Chen Yu followed the instructions and walked over to sit on the sofa. Zhang Tianming stood up, walked over to sit next to Chen Yu, and asked, how is the plant cultivation going? At least one of the beat-down vines should be reaching maturity by now, right? The situation is very good, Chen Yu said with a smile. Did teacher Zhang call me here today for something? Well, Zhang Tianming said, I have a friend who is a 4th-level planter. He happened to be in our River Sun City these past few days, so I shamelessly invited him over. Let's go and meet him. If you have any questions, this is a good opportunity for you to get some clarification. Thank you, teacher Zhang, Chen Yu said gratefully. Planters are already rare, and those who can grow to a high level are even rarer. Zhang Tianming was willing to invite a 4th-level planter to specifically teach him, which showed how important this favor was. Chen Yu followed Zhang Tianming and arrived at the meeting room on the top floor of the office. In the meeting room, a middle-aged man was sipping tea and playing with potted plants. Oh, Lao Zhang, you brought your talented disciple with you. The middle-aged man stood up and smiled. Chen Yu, this is my friend, 4th-level planter, Zhou Bowen, Zhang Tianming introduced to Chen Yu. Bowen, this is my student, Chen Yu, also a planter like you. My student is a diligent and studious person, and he is also intelligent. Be careful that he learns all your secrets. Zhang Tianming laughed. Ha ha ha, Lao Zhang, If your student can uncover all my secrets, then that's his ability, Joe Bowen laughed. There are already few planters, and even fewer who are willing to fight. All right, Lao Zhang, you go about your business. I'll keep your student here for a while. Chen Yu, you should thoroughly investigate this old Joe. I put in a lot of effort to invite him here. Zhang Tianming patted Chen Yu's shoulder with a smile. Then I will respectfully obey, Chen Yu said. Teacher Zhou, I'll be relying on you today. Principal Zhang Tianming left, leaving Chen Yu and Joe Bowen with some time. Chen Yu, first, I have a question for you, Joe Bowen said. Please, Teacher Zhou, what do you think, is being a planter a livelihood profession or a combat profession? Joe Bowen asked. Of course, it's a combat profession, Chen Yu said. Now that you have this understanding, we can move on to the next topic, Joe Bowen said. Currently, many planters consider themselves as livelihood professionals and operate as such in their daily lives. Even most planters have turned themselves into farmers, working for large families and forces. Is that so? Chen Yu frowned. A planter is still a mutated profession, right? Indeed, Joe Bowen nodded. However, you should know that the higher the level of a profession, the greater the danger it faces. Many planters are unwilling to take this risk. They rely on their profession's passive skill, planting space, and their basic skills to produce materials for large forces, and they can still live a comfortable life. On the other hand, if they consider themselves as combat professionals, not only do they face danger, but their profits may not be as good as the former. Alright, let's move on to the next question. What do you think about the combat power of planters compared to other mutated professions? Joe Bowen continued to ask. I think it should be inferior, right? Chen Yu said uncertainly. In reality, not only mutated professions, even ordinary combat professions don't think highly of planters. However, since Joe Bowen asked this question, he must have his reasons. You're not wrong to say that. However, I want to tell you that planters have an extremely high upper limit and a very low lower limit, Joe Bowen said. There are two factors that determine our upper limit. The first is plant cultivation. The second is command art. Command art, Chen Yu seemed to understand. That's right, command art. Joe Bowen nodded. We planters can cultivate various types of plants. When these plants have combat capabilities, we ourselves become a small team, or even an army. Perhaps our individual strength may not be as good, but we can command the plants we cultivate effortlessly. That is our advantage. For ordinary planters, improving their command level is equivalent to improving their combat power. Placing the most suitable plant life in the right position, replacing them in a timely manner, and minimizing casualties, that's what we need to do. Every powerful planter is a master of command. Come, take a look at this video. Joe Bowen picked up the remote control and turned on the projection screen in the meeting room. On the screen was a battle. One side was a planter, while the other side was a warrior. The planter in the video is my personally trained disciple who got accepted into Cloud River University last year. This video is a scene of him practicing with his classmates in the academy. His opponent is a mutant profession, a berserker. Saying that, Joe Bowen clicked play. Chen Yu turned his gaze to the video. In the footage, the berserker wielded a double-bladed axe and charged towards the planter with great momentum. The planter, on the other hand, remained calm and first summoned a tree, lifting himself up and standing on a high position. Then he released two poisonous lilies on the tree. Pollen fell, causing the berserker to enter a negative state of reduced attributes. Undeterred, he swung his axe at the trunk of the tree, directly creating a large gap. Based on this damage, two more attacks and the tree would break. The planter remained composed and walked to the edge of the branch, jumping down while holding onto it. At that moment, the berserker swung his second axe. However, in the next moment, the tree suddenly disappeared. The powerful strike missed, and the berserker almost fell. Just then, the planter threw a whip vine, heavily lashing at the berserker's leg. Already off balance, the berserker fell to the ground. Immediately, more than 10 tree spirits and 2 whip vines swarmed in, rendering the berserker unable to move. As the referee declared the planter's victory, the video came to an end. What do you think? Joe Bowen asked. Very impressive, Chen Yu nodded. The planter in the video was indeed strong. Seizing opportunities, judging opponents, summoning plants, every step was executed with precision. Although he won easily, if someone else had gone up, it would have been the berserker who won easily. If at the start of the battle, he had released all the plant life at once, the berserker would have easily killed them all with a single swing of his axe. This is the art of command, Joe Bowen said. Have you figured out what that tree is? It's the fairy tree. Chen Yu recalled and said. The fairy tree was the plant seed Zhang Tianming gave him. However, Chen Yu's fairy tree had already evolved into a world tree. Yes, the fairy tree, Joe Bowen replied. The original form of the nurturing type plant. It doesn't have to be confined to producing subsidiary units in the planting space. When the time is right, it can also create combat opportunities. Of course, this requires confidence in your own command. Otherwise, if it gets destroyed, it will be a serious setback. Also, take a look here. Joe Bowen rewound the video to the moment when the berserker struck the fairy tree for the second time. At that moment, the planter grabbed a branch of the fairy tree and jumped to the ground behind the berserker. This is the utilization of the planting space mechanism. Retrieving the plants at the right moment not only avoids damage but also destabilizes the opponent by making the attack target disappear. The control of plant life, the ability to summon and retract, is a mandatory course for combat-oriented planters. Of course, the prerequisite for achieving this is having enough confidence to ensure the safety of your own self. The sudden attack of the beatdown vine establishes victory without the need for further explanation. Any professional fighter would not miss such an opportunity. Now, let's watch the next video. In total, Joe Bowen played 7 videos for Chen Yu, each showcasing a highly skilled planter combat style. Every explanation greatly benefited Chen Yu. Although Chen Yu himself could easily slaughter opponents of that level by simply releasing a plant, it did not hinder his learning of the planter's combat strategies. As for combat command, let's stop here for today. Joe Bowen took a sip of tea, moistened his dry throat, and continued. Next, let's talk about plant cultivation. Any combat technique of a planter is based on the plants they cultivate. We can cultivate plants based on the composition of a regular team of professionals. Tankers, melee attackers, ranged attackers, controllers, debuffers, and so on. In the beginner stage, there are not many plant types that can be grown, but there must be a limited number of plants for attack, control, and debuffing. Speaking of cultivating plants, let me briefly mention our professional skills. Let's not talk about optional skills for now, as those depend on personal opportunities. The 2 basic skills must be prioritized and trained to the maximum level. It's best to reach the maximum level before the first job change, so that you can directly obtain advanced skills after the job change. Of course, this cannot be forced. It's not worth delaying the job change just to train skills. Advanced skills, what are those? Chen Yu quickly asked. You don't know? Joe Bowen asked in surprise. Please enlighten me, Teacher Joe, Chen Yu respectfully said. Oh, I forgot. High school students usually awaken a month before the college entrance examination. In such a short time, reaching level 20 is quite difficult, so there is no relevant knowledge in high school textbooks. You should know that when a skill is just learned, it is at level 1, right? Yes, Chen Yu nodded. Simply put, high-level skills that can only be learned after the first job change have much stronger effects than basic skills, Joe Bowen explained. For beginner professionals, the skill level cap increases by 1 every time they reach level 5. At level 45, they can reach level 10, the maximum level. If the skills are already at the maximum level when changing jobs, the basic skills at the maximum level will directly become level 1 advanced skills after the job change. Depending on the difficulty of the job change task, at least 1 skill will be promoted, and at most, all skills will be promoted. If the basic skills are not at the maximum level, they cannot be promoted. After the first job change, professionals will only have 2 slots for advanced skills. If they want more advanced skills, they can only rely on the promotion of basic skills. Therefore, having 1 more basic skill at the maximum level during the beginner stage will greatly increase your combat power during the first job change. I see. Thank you, teacher. I have learned a lot. Chen Yu suddenly realized. He decided that he needed to spend time to max out his skills. Otherwise, wouldn't he miss the opportunity to obtain advanced skills for nothing? No need to thank me, Joe Bowen shook his head. These are specialized courses in college. Furthermore, there is one more crucial point about our planters. That is, absolutely prioritize the cultivation of high-quality plants. The upper limit of a planter's potential actually depends on high-quality plants. If you have a rare plant, you can easily defeat mutants of the same level. If you have an epic plant, defeating hidden professionals is a piece of cake. If you have a legendary plant, forget about what I said earlier about command and cooperation. It's all nonsense. Anyway, let's not talk too much. Show me your best cultivated plant. Based on the actual situation, I will give you some advice. This is also the main purpose for which Lao Zhang brought me here. The best cultivated plant. Chen Yu immersed his consciousness into the unsurpassable sacred ground and looked at the towering world tree. If this thing were released, the entire central kingdom would surely be annihilated in an instant. In addition, there were the primordial elves. Xiao Feng was still kept in his pocket, quiet and motionless. Xiao Yan, on the other hand, was boredly tearing off the tender leaves of the world tree, playing with them and stuffing them into his mouth. This definitely couldn't be taken out either. A plant of mythical level, it must not be easily shown to others. Chen Yu turned his gaze to the area where ordinary plants were cultivated. Perhaps due to their diligent cultivation, all the plants that were planted just last night had evolved to the rare level. And the thorn vine and poisonous lily that were planted the day before yesterday had already reached the epic level. The plants planted yesterday had just advanced and were growing visibly, making it inconvenient to take them out. So, Chen Yu had no choice but to release a thorn vine demon that was planted the day before yesterday. A humanoid figure formed by intertwined vines appeared beside Chen Yu. Teacher Zhou, this is the best plant life I have cultivated. Please evaluate it. Oh, this is an epic level plant life. Thorn vine demon. Zhou Bowen was initially stunned, but after seeing clearly, he was instantly dumbfounded and couldn't help but curse. And this size, this level of anthropomorphism, both hands are perfect with 5 vines. My goodness. Tell me, how did you cultivate it? No, how is it possible to cultivate a mature thorn vine demon in just 2 days? Zhou Bowen tightly grabbed Chen Yu's hand, his eyes shining brightly as he asked. Cough cough, Teacher Zhou, I can't answer that, after all, it involves talent. Chen Yu coughed lightly and calmly withdrew his hand. Ah, I'm sorry, Chen Yu, I lost control. Zhou Bowen quickly calmed down, feeling embarrassed. Epic level plant life. Not only were the seeds extremely rare, but the cultivation process was also extremely difficult. That's why Zhou Bowen specifically reminded to prioritize cultivating high-quality plants. Chen Yu was just a newly transferred novice. Even if he was lucky enough to obtain the seeds, it would be impossible for him to cultivate a mature epic level plant life. The only thing that could explain this phenomenon was talent. In a world where everyone could change professions, everything could be traced. Only talent, it didn't follow any logic, and was basically equivalent to cheating in a game. More abnormal talents, such as hundredfold experience, hundredfold attributes, true damage, even if it was a life profession, they could still dominate the battlefield of Great Liang. What Chen Yu could do, directly maturing and perfectly growing plant life, was not considered much. Talent was the trump card of professionals, it was top secret. Casually prying into it was equivalent to declaring war. Although Chen Yu was Zhou Bowen's student, even between husband and wife, they wouldn't easily explore each other's talents. Well, Chen, let's end our discussion here today. I have something to attend to, so I'll leave first. Zhou Bowen's face was a mix of pale and green, bid farewell and hurriedly left. He really couldn't face staying any longer. Not only because he inquired about Chen Yu's talent, but also because he didn't have an epic level plant life as perfect as Chen Yu's Thornvine Demon. As a renowned battle planter, Zhou Bowen also had 2 epic level plant lives. But compared to Chen Yu's Thornvine Demon, their appearance was truly pitiful. With this, what else does he have to teach Chen Yu about cultivating plant life? Well, Chen Yu reluctantly retracted the thorny vine monster. He still had many unanswered questions. But Zhou Bowen had already left, and he couldn't just bring him back, could he? If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have brought out the thorny vine monster. After explaining the situation to Zhang Tianming over the phone, Chen Yu left the school and headed to the Professional Traders Exchange Center. The exchange center had dedicated skill practice grounds. Using skills in the practice grounds not only reduced consumption but also decreased cooldown time. The only downside was that it was not free. Principal's office at Yizhong School. Joe Bowen walked in with a gloomy face and complained, "Where did you find that monster? You didn't even tell me about it beforehand, and now my reputation is ruined." "No, what did my student do to you?" Zhang Tianming looked puzzled. "You still let me teach him how to cultivate plants, intentionally trying to provoke me, right?" Joe Bowen said indignantly. "How did he provoke you?" Zhang Tianming was confused. "Could it be that my student has poor aptitude? That shouldn't be the case, he has always been the top student in his grade." "He's the top student. I wouldn't be surprised if he became the top scorer in the Cloud River Province's college entrance examination." Joe Bowen's face twitched. "Top scorer?" Zhang Tianming was stunned. "How is that possible? You yourself are a planter, you know how difficult the novice period is. I wouldn't be surprised if he got into a good university, but becoming the top scorer is unlikely, right?" "Why is it unlikely? Just now, in front of me, he produced a mature epic level plant." Joe Bowen glared at Zhang Tianming. "And the quality is almost perfect. I'm embarrassed to show him the ones I've been raising." "Lao Zhang, don't tell me you don't know. Aren't you intentionally embarrassing me? A 4th level veteran combat planter, meticulously cultivating plant life, with lower quality than a novice." Joe Bowen wished he could find a hole to hide in. "A perfect epic level plant life." Zhang Tianming stared in disbelief. "Are you kidding me? You don't know either." Joe Bowen looked at Zhang Tianming in confusion. "Wasn't it you who gave him the seed? Then where did he get it? Didn't you say his parents passed away and his family conditions were not good?" "Well, it wasn't great before, but now, it's hard to say." Zhang Tianming pondered for a moment and hesitated. "Hey, Lao Zhang, are you trying to keep me in suspense? Tell me what's going on. Did the kids' parents come back to life? Did they become transcendent level experts?" Joe Bowen asked curiously. "Can you bring someone back to life for me to see?" Zhang Tianming's face twitched. "What happened then?" "He has a sister named Chen Mo," Zhang Tianming said. "Chen Mo, the top scorer in the Cloud River Province's college entrance examination last year." Joe Bowen was shocked. "That's right," Zhang Tianming nodded. "His sister got into Soaring Dragon University, and I don't know the current situation." "You know what kind of place Soaring Dragon University is. Even if it's an epic level plant seed, I wouldn't be surprised if she produced a legendary level. But, after getting into Soaring Dragon University, does she still have the energy to take care of him?" Joe Bowen was amazed. "Of course she does," Zhang Tianming said. "Chen Mo sends money back every month for me to give to her brother. And occasionally, she comes back for a visit. After getting into Soaring Dragon University, she still has time to come back to our Cloud River Province." Joe Bowen was dumbfounded. This Chen family is really extraordinary. Not only is the younger brother amazing, but the sister is even more incredible. Who can deny that? In a few decades, there will probably be 2 more frames on our school's Wall of Fame. River Sun City, Professional Association Building. The receptionist at the front desk, a sweet smiling young lady, greeted and bid farewell to visitors. Chen Yu approached and said, "I would like to rent a basic skills practice room." "All right, sir. Please wait a moment," the young lady tapped on the keyboard. "May I ask which level of practice room you would like to rent?" "Please give me an introduction," Chen Yu said. "All right, sir. Our professional association has 4 levels of basic skills practice rooms. 1-star level, 10 gold coins per day, shared by 5 people, reduces consumption and cooldown by 40%. 2-star level, 20 gold coins per day, shared by 5 people, reduces consumption and cooldown by 60%. 3-star level, 50 gold coins per day, shared by 5 people, reduces consumption and cooldown by 80%. All of these rooms provide a 100% accelerated recovery lounge and dining services. Being a professional really requires money," Chen Yu exclaimed. "Even the lowest level practice room costs 10 gold coins per day, which, in the currency of my previous life, is equivalent to 100,000. Those with slightly worse financial situations really can't afford to play here." After considering for a moment, Chen Yu decided to rent a 3-star level practice room. With the speed at which he earns money, there's no need to save in a place like this. When he runs out of money, he can just cast a forbidden curse somewhere and money will come rolling in. Chen Yu, you're here too. Just as Chen Yu was about to speak, Su Miaoyu ran over and greeted her happily. Yes, what a coincidence. Chen Yu glanced at her, a polite smile appearing on his lips. Then he continued to speak to the receptionist. I would like to rent a 3-star level practice room. Please process it for me, just rent it for 1 day. Sure, that will be 50 gold coins. The receptionist smiled and handed him a POS machine. Wait a minute. Seeing Chen Yu about to swipe his card, Su Miaoyu reached out and held the card reader. Quote? Chen Yu looked at Su Miaoyu in confusion. I happen to get a VIP room monthly card for the Professional Association's Basic Skills Practice Room, Su Miaoyu explained. The room has 3 practice spots, and since I can't use them all by myself, if you don't mind. A VIP room. Chen Yu looked at the receptionist with an inquiring gaze. The 4th option is the VIP practice room. The practice spots are not sold separately, and the monthly card price is 10,000 gold coins, the receptionist explained. The VIP practice room reduces consumption and cooldown by 90%. Su Miaoyu blinked at Chen Yu. Will you join me? Then thank you. Chen Yu decisively agreed. Why spend an extra 10,000 gold coins when you can get it for free? He suddenly felt that Su Miaoyu was a nice girl, truly rich and generous. The VIP practice room is located on the 50th floor of the Professional Association building, accessible by elevator. Following Su Miaoyu into the room, Chen Yu immediately received a prompt from the system. Hint: you have entered the Basic Skills Practice Room. In this building, when using basic skills, skill consumption is reduced by 90%, skill cooldown is reduced by 90%, and natural recovery rate is increased by 200%. Hint: when releasing advanced and higher level skills in this room, skill consumption and cooldown will not be reduced, but the natural recovery rate will still increase. In the room, there were shooting targets, wooden dummies, and various training equipment. Without hesitation, Su Miaoyu occupied the central practice spot and began releasing her skills. A sword chi shot out and attacked the wooden dummy. Chen Yu took the practice spot to the left of Su Miaoyu and summoned a thorny vine monster, releasing plant enhancement and accelerated growth. The thorny vine monster immediately showed an expression of enjoyment, its level of humanization off the charts. If you didn't know, you would think it was going through something unspeakable. Chen Yu twitched his lips, choosing to selectively ignore the thorny vine monster's behavior and continued smashing skills. More than 10 minutes passed. Su Miaoyu stopped her movements, panting heavily. Chen Yu, on the other hand, continued to use his skills without stopping. Su Miaoyu drank 2 bottles of recovery potions, took a short rest, and then continued. However, when she became exhausted again and entered the rest period for taking potions, Chen Yu still didn't stop. After several cycles, Su Miaoyu couldn't help but feel her eyelids twitching. How long can this person continue using skills? Even if the consumption is reduced by 90%, it shouldn't be this exaggerated, right? The rapid growth of planter doesn't have a cooldown, and it has been continuously used for so long without reaching the limit of mental and physical strength. The target of Chen Yu's skill release also piqued her curiosity. If she didn't look at the hands and feet, she would almost think that it was a human girl. It's one thing to look like one. With the release of Chen Yu's skills, the plant life even showed a satisfied expression, more exaggerated than in a movie. Hey, Chen Yu, take a break and have a drink of water. Su Miaoyu personally made a cup of tea for Chen Yu. Thank you. Chen Yu stopped his actions and took the teacup. After releasing skills hundreds of times in a row, his stamina and mental strength were almost depleted and needed some recovery. By the way, don't you need to level up? Why are you practicing skills so early? Chen Yu asked in confusion. For novice professionals, every 5 levels gained increases the skill level cap. Su Miaoyu is still not at level 10, so the skill level cap is only level 2. It shouldn't be necessary to specifically practice skills. Practicing skills up to level 2 won't significantly increase the efficiency of monster hunting. Moreover, all the proficiency gained in skill practice will be wasted until better skill level caps are unlocked. With less than a month left until the college entrance examination, time is tight, and such waste shouldn't be happening. Tisk, you think I don't want to go level up? Su Miaoyu pouted. Don't you know, our River Sun City is under lockdown. Lockdown? Why? Chen Yu asked in confusion. This is a world where everyone changes professions, and there are massive numbers of professionals going out of the city to hunt monsters every day. How could it be locked down so easily? According to my grandfather, a forbidden powerhouse appeared near our River Sun City and inexplicably started showing off their strength. Fortunately, they didn't attack our River Sun City, otherwise the entire city would have been wiped out. Now no one dares to go out, fearing that the powerhouse will continue to act. If it affects us, it would be pointless to die. Su Miaoyu's tone was filled with helplessness. A forbidden powerhouse showing off their strength. Why? Chen Yu asked curiously. I don't know, Su Miaoyu said, I guess someone must have provoked that forbidden powerhouse. Someone in our River Sun City can provoke a forbidden powerhouse. How is that possible? Chen Yu became even more curious. A forbidden powerhouse is at least level 400, a transcendent level expert who has completed the 8th transformation. The strongest in River Sun City is only at the 5th transformation, which is completely unrelated to them, let alone provoking them. I don't know about that either, Su Miaoyu shook her head, but I heard it was about the younger generation. Younger generation? Chen Yu's eyes widened. Could it be Xiao Yan's forbidden curse accidentally harmed the descendant of some big shot, and now they've come for revenge? After releasing the forbidden curse, this is what he was most worried about. Now that the situation has arisen, he can't help but think more. Don't worry, Su Miaoyu comforted, these things have nothing to do with us. There will naturally be powerhouses to negotiate. We just can't go out of the city to level up for a few days. Yes, Chen Yu absent-mindedly nodded. Facing a forbidden existence, he currently has no power to fight back. Xiao Yan's existence must not be exposed, especially the judgment of doomsday magic, which should not be used unless it's a life or death situation. Of course, sealing one judgment of doomsday won't reduce Xiao Yan's strength. After all, she now has a total of 4 forbidden curse skills. Ah, I'm still too weak. A forbidden powerhouse actually makes me so fearful. I must quickly improve my strength. In the practice room, Su Miaoyu's sweet shouts could be heard continuously. Chen Yu, on the other hand, chose to silently work hard. It wasn't until evening that Su Miaoyu finally left the skill practice room. But Chen Yu didn't leave, he couldn't bear to part with this feng shui treasure that could rapidly improve skill proficiency. When Su Miaoyu left, she handed over the right to use the practice room to Chen Yu, allowing him to use it anytime. Outside the Professional Association building, Qin Lan was waiting by the car. Su Miaoyu quickly and blushing, got into the car and pulled Qin Lan in. Miss, what's wrong? Is someone trying to harm you? Qin Lan's expression was serious, her gaze scanning outside the car like a sharp knife. No, Qin Jia, don't you have a planter friend? Please ask them quickly, what level of plant life is this? Su Miaoyu excitedly took out her phone and opened several high-definition pictures. On the pictures was a beautiful girl with a dark complexion. However, the girl didn't have hands or feet, her wrists were connected to 5 thorny vines, and her feet were 2 thick tree roots. Upon closer inspection, it could be seen that the girl's skin was woven with fine white threads, not real human skin. These pictures were taken at close range after Su Miaoyu sought Chen Yu's permission. This was something Chen Yu deliberately did after he realized Su Miaoyu's intentions. As a planter, he was exceptionally powerful, and on his path to rise, there would definitely be malicious surveillance and greedy exploration. Gradually exposing some insignificant things would help reduce external attention. There's actually such a plant life. Qin Lan was surprised. She quickly sent the pictures to her planter friend. Qin Lan, meow, can you help me take a look at what this is? Picture. The response came almost instantly. Zhen Miao, Lan, where did you take this? When did we have such a powerful being in River Sun City? Qin Lan, is this plant life rare? Zhen Miao, rare, are you kidding? This is an epic plant life thorn vine demon. Zhen Miao, let me tell you, just a seed can be sold for 100,000 gold coins, and it's priceless. Zhen Miao, and this is just a seed. Who knows how much effort and money it would take to cultivate it to maturity. Zhen Miao, Moreover, a typical thorn vine demon looks like this pictures. Qin Lan clicked on the pictures, and there was a monster made up of twisted vines, barely resembling a human. Qin Lan, so you're saying that the thorn vine demon I sent you is well cultivated? Zhen Miao, more than well cultivated. It's beyond amazing. Let me explain. The more a humanoid plant life resembles a human in appearance, the higher its evolutionary level. The one in your picture is a guaranteed legendary level. Zhen Miao, do you know what a legendary level plant life means? It can easily defeat planters of the same level, and at the very least, it can guarantee a planter's advancement to the 6th transformation. If cultivated well, even the 7th transformation is not difficult. Advancement to the 6th transformation. Even striving for the 7th transformation. Qin Lan's heart was filled with shock. The strongest in our River Sun City is only at the 5th transformation. Qin Jia, what's wrong? Did you find out? Su Miaoyu quickly leaned over. See for yourself. Qin Lan handed her phone to Su Miaoyu. Su Miaoyu gasped. A plant life with such terrifying power. ... Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, 4 days had passed. Su Miaoyu had maxed out all her skills, but she had nothing to do, so she went to the practice room every day to spar with the target dummies. Chen Yu also stayed in the skill practice room, not even leaving to sleep. Through persistent efforts, Chen Yu finally maxed out his accelerated growth skill. Due to the cooldown, the plant enhancement skill wasn't maxed out, but it reached level 7. During these few days, the plant lives that Chen Yu diligently nurtured became more and more vibrant. In fact, more than 30 plant lives had already advanced to the legendary level. Thorn Vine Demon Spirit. Rank. Legendary. Level. 43. Attributes. Strength 2450, Agility 2560, Constitution 3050, Spirit 1450. Skills. Thorn Entanglement LV9, Ruthless Whip LV9, Poison Spike Shot LV9, Blossoming Affection LV9. Lily Spirit. Tier. Legendary. Level. 43. Attributes. Strength 1350, Agility 2050, Constitution 2650, Spirit 3860. Skills. Venomous Fragrance LV9, Gentle Aura LV9, Deadly Kiss Mark 55-9, Death Embrace LV9. Gluttony Spirit. Tier. Legendary. Level. 43. Attributes. Strength 2730, Agility 2160, Constitution 4020, Spirit 1370. Skills. Gluttony LV9, Rapid Digestion LV9, Corrosive Acid LV9, Desire Trap LV9. These legendary level plant spirits can easily defeat a second-tier mage like Qin Lan. The key is that these plant spirits are Chen Yu's regular combat power. As long as he buys the seeds and raises them in the unsurpassable sacred ground, they will evolve to legendary level in no time. This reminds him of Joe Bowen's words. A planter is like an army. Keep working hard, focus on plant enhancement and try to level up quickly. Although rapid growth is already maxed out, it can accelerate the evolution of plant spirits. Focus on one plant and see if there's a chance to give birth to a mythical level. Chen Yu exits the unsurpassable sacred ground and brings out a thorn spirit. The thorn spirit at the legendary level looks no different from an ordinary human girl. She wears a gorgeous red petal dress, with a slender waist and a circle of blood-red thorns around her. Her dark and silky hair reaches her hips, and her fair skin is smooth and elastic, with delicate facial features. Her hands are slender and white. There are hills that are hard to level above, and even harder to level below. The only flaw is that her feet are still a mass of roots. If her photo were posted online, it would surely attract countless otaku worshipping the screen. Chen Yu satisfies the wishes of countless otaku as a pioneer. She smells strongly of flowers and has a slightly sweet taste. Unfortunately, after Chen Yu's exploration and careful observation, he discovered that although her body surface resembles a human, the inside is still solid, similar to the thorn vine spirit stage. This means that some of Chen Yu's ideas cannot be realized. Not only the thorn spirit, but also the lily spirit and the gluttony spirit are similar. The gluttony spirit does have some chambers inside, but they contain acid that can corrode even glass, making it impossible for a human to come into contact with. Chen Yu lowers his head and smells the fragrance of the thorn spirit, instantly feeling energized. That guy is probably still practicing skills in there, right? If I don't remind him, he'll probably forget about the new player instance opening at school today. Su Miaoyu pushes open the door to the VIP skill practice room. Sure enough, Chen Yu is inside. But the next moment, her face becomes unsettled. She sees Chen Yu holding a stunning girl in a provocative petal dress, burying his head in her waist with an intoxicated expression. Su Miaoyu's expression immediately turns unfriendly as she coldly asks, Chen Yu, what are you doing? You're here, what am I doing? Of course, I'm practicing skills. What else could I be doing? Chen Yu had just used accelerated growth and plant enhancement when he heard Su Miaoyu's angry voice behind him, which confused him. But he realizes that girls have a few days each month when their temper is not good, so it's not surprising. I kindly lent you the practice room, how could you bring someone in casually? And do such shameless things? Su Miaoyu says angrily. While she's angry, she also feels a faint sourness and pain in her heart for some reason. Bring someone in. When did I do that? Chen Yu looks around and doesn't see anyone else, then looks at Su Miaoyu. No, are there other people here? Did you wake up too early and haven't fully awakened yet? Hey, still denying it, huh? Su Miaoyu sneers and points at the thorn spirit. Can you put her down before you speak? You mean, it. Chen Yu patted the thorny spirit in his arms, his mouth twitched, and he wordlessly placed it on the ground. The roots of the thorny spirit's feet grabbed the ground, still maintaining the half-lying position in Chen Yu's arms. Throughout the process, the thorny spirit remained motionless, like a statue. After all, the thorny spirit is still a plant life. Instead of a brain, it has vines in its head, and its thinking ability is slightly higher than that of thorny vine spirits, but still significantly different from humans. Unless necessary, they won't move. The stiff posture of the thorny spirit made Su Miaoyu unable to help but take another look. Then, she noticed the roots at its feet. A plant life. Su Miaoyu was instantly dumbfounded. The slight anger, slight heartache, and faint jealousy disappeared without a trace. Thinking about her unreasonable behavior just now, Su Miaoyu felt embarrassed to the point of wanting to dig a hole with her toes. You think I brought a girl in here to be all lovey-dovey? Chen Yu pointed at the thorny spirit. Miss, you should know that I spend my nights dreaming about skills, I don't have time for that. Chen Yu understood Su Miaoyu's feelings. In his past life on Earth, if he lent his beloved car to a female friend, and that female friend brought a wild man to fool around in his car, he would also be furious. But Su Miaoyu's thinking was strange. She was in contact with Chen Yu's plant life every day and knew that Chen Yu hardly ever left the training room. Yet, her first reaction upon seeing the thorny spirit was to think it was a woman, which was absurd. Although the thorny spirit's appearance changed after reaching the legendary rank, it shouldn't have elicited that kind of reaction, right? This girl has a big problem, she seems to have become less intelligent. The top student and school beauty's style has gone awry, it's absurd. Faced with Chen Yu's slightly sympathetic gaze, Su Miaoyu's fair face quickly turned red, like a steamed crab. Cough, by the way, Su Miaoyu, did you handle that forbidden expert? Can we go out to level up now? Seeing Su Miaoyu blushing, Chen Yu quickly changed the subject. If they continued, the young miss would become angry with embarrassment. Oh, there's been no news these past few days, it seems like they left. Many professionals have been trying to leave the city. Oh, right, do you remember what day it is today? Talking about business, Su Miaoyu quickly forgot about her embarrassment. A holiday, or some kind of celebration or commemoration. Chen Yu couldn't remember anything special about today, so he asked tentatively. PFF'd. Su Miaoyu couldn't help but chuckle, you really don't know what day it is. Today is the day the school opens the beginner's instance. If I didn't tell you, would you have even planned to go? Yeah, the beginner's instance. How could I forget about that? Chen Yu slapped his forehead. In the world of universal job change, instances were the main source of experience and gold coins. Most instances were controlled by various forces such as families, companies, guilds, schools, and the government. Often, one could judge the strength of a force by how many instances they controlled. Why was Zhongyang No. 1 Middle School the best middle school in River Sun City? It was because it controlled a total of 3 beginners instances. Beginners instances referred to instances for players between level 1 and level 50. Before the first job change, one could obtain considerable benefits from them. There were instances corresponding to each level range for professionals. Rank 1 instances corresponded to first job professionals, levels 51 to 100. Rank 2 instances corresponded to second job professionals, levels 101 to 150. Of course, there were also special instances that had no level restrictions, and the benefits depended entirely on luck. Miss Su Miaoyu naturally had a car to pick her up and drop her off when she went out. Chen Yu also benefited and was sent to school by a dedicated car for the first time in his life. After arriving at school, the two of them returned to their respective classes. The beginner's instance is set in the instance square and requires teachers from each class to lead the way. Chen Yu walked into the classroom, and the class seemed somewhat empty. Those who don't brush instances naturally won't come. There are very few combat professions, only 6 or 7 people. The others just glanced at Chen Yu and then stopped paying attention, continuing with their own things. After Chen Yu sat down, Li Wei walked over and knocked on Chen Yu's desk. "Hey, Lao Chen, you haven't been back to the dormitory for so many days. Where have you been?" "I'm living a happy life with the school beauty." Chen Yu smacked his lips, as if savoring something. He spends half of his day with Su Miaoyu, so it can definitely be considered living together. His skill proficiency increases every day, and he is very happy. "What a joke. Does the school beauty even like you?" Li Wei said disdainfully. As roommates, Li Wei knew very well that Chen Yu and Su Miaoyu didn't have the rumored relationship. "By the way, I heard that one of the 3 beginner instances in our school has hidden content." "Which instance?" Chen Yu became interested. Guarding the village, Li Wei said, "The instance task is to withstand the attack of 10 waves of goblin monsters. After it ends, you can settle the instance or continue with 10 waves of defense. Rumor has it that this instance has a total of 30 waves. If you manage to defend against all the waves on hard difficulty or above, you might even have a chance to obtain skill points and free attribute points. Unfortunately, we can only play on easy difficulty at most, and the rewards are only experience and money. Moreover, the monster's strength increases significantly after 10 waves. If you accidentally die or fail the task, the rewards will be greatly reduced. It's a loss." Guarding the village. "Got it. Let's choose that one." Chen Yu was about to take a look at the instance introduction and decide which instance to enter when Li Wei reminded him at the right time. Skill points can directly increase the skill level without considering skill proficiency, saving a lot of time for skill practice. Currently, Chen Yu still has 3 skill slots available. Before reaching the first transformation, he plans to fully upgrade all his skills. It's just like falling asleep with a pillow. "Don't." Li Wei's mouth twitched. "Let's choose Apocalypse Survival. Overall, it has the highest rewards among the 3 instances. By the way, let's form a team in the instance square later." "Forget it. Can your teammates let you invite me?" Chen Yu laughed. "Hehe, don't underestimate me. I still have some face in the team," Li Wei said proudly. "We'll see then." Chen Yu neither agreed nor disagreed. The maximum rewards can only be obtained by soloing instances. It's no problem to bring Li Wei along, but he definitely won't bring Li Wei's teammates. Likewise, Li Wei's teammates won't allow Chen Yu to freeload. After chatting for about half an hour, the class teacher, Lu Qing, walked into the classroom and led several novice professionals to the instance square. The instance square is actually a small indoor auditorium, covering an area of over 2,000 square meters. In the center, there are 3 white light gates over 3 meters high. In front of each light gate, there is a teacher registering the participants. "Lao Chen, I and my teammates agreed to meet over there. Let's go." Li Wei hadn't finished speaking when he turned his head and saw that Chen Yu had already disappeared. "Li Wei, you finally came, I've been waiting for you." Just then, a warrior walked over, put his arm around Li Wei's shoulder, and smiled. Afterwards, the remaining 4 novice professionals from Li Wei's team arrived one after another. With the team complete, they began discussing the instance. For a while, Li Wei didn't have time to look for Chen Yu's whereabouts. At this time, most professionals hadn't formed their teams yet, so the area in front of the instance teleportation gate was still relatively empty. Chen Yu walked to the registration booth labeled, guarding the village. Teacher, please register me for the instance. Report the team captains and team members' names and professions, the registration teacher said. Team Captain Chen Yu, Profession Planter, no other team members. You want to solo? The registration teacher raised her head in astonishment and looked at Chen Yu. Due to the sudden increase in her voice caused by surprise, most of the novice professionals in the instance square turned their gaze towards them. Anyone want to solo? Really? Who's so strong? Su Miaoyu. Su Miaoyu is a hidden profession. If anyone from our group can solo, it should be her, right? You're blind. That person is clearly a man. How could it be Su Miaoyu? I can assure you all that Su Miaoyu won't solo. Suddenly, someone spoke loudly. He carried a blue glowing longbow on his back, and his upper body leather armor and quiver behind him also emitted a blue light. 3 rare equipment pieces. Everyone looked over. I am Su Miaoyu's regular teammate, a long-range DPS, Lin Daonan. As he spoke, Lin Daonan revealed a proud expression. Su Miaoyu's teammate. Impressive. Monsters can't drop 3 pieces of blue equipment now. Everyone, you may not know. Lin Daonan lowered his voice and pointed in the direction of the instance portal. The person who claims to solo is not simple. Not simple. Who is it? Do we have another hidden profession in our school? A mage approached and asked. Did you forget? Our grade's top student, that mutated profession. Lin Daonan revealed a hint of mocking smile and said with a strange tone. The mighty planter who claims to be a one-man army and needs to team up with others. Oh, it's him. It's a pity. He has good grades but switched to planter. Planter's plant formations are quite powerful, but now it's only been a few days since he switched professions. Most likely, the first round of plants hasn't matured yet, so he naturally has no combat power. Then why solo? Why not find a team to join? Which team would be willing to let someone join and lose experience and rewards for no reason? Would you? Hey, Lin Daonan sneered. Do you think he really dares to solo? I think he's just seeking attention, trying to gain sympathy, to see if any team will take him in. If he dares to go in, I'll write my name backwards, Lin Daonan. That's right, but unfortunately, in the world of professions, where is there so much sympathy? You're right, where are all the saints? Wait and see if no one stops him. Let's see how it ends. The top student, is this it? Quote. Chen Yu ignored the commotion around him and calmly said to the registration teacher, Teacher, can I register now? Cough, student, I think you should consider it carefully. The registration teacher awkwardly coughed and tried to console him. No need, let's do the registration. All right then. Seeing Chen Yu's firm determination, the registration teacher couldn't persuade him any further and proceeded to register him for the instance. Without hesitation, Chen Yu walked directly into the instance portal. Seeing Chen Yu disappear, the instance square immediately buzzed with excitement. He really went in. Soloing an instance, does he have some secret card up his sleeve? He's always been the top student, maybe he really has something up his sleeve. Hey, Lin Dao, oh no, Lin Daonan, you know Chen Yu well. Are you sure he won't solo? Why did he enter the instance alone? Upon hearing this, Lin Daonan's face turned pale, and he stiffly said, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Making such a big fuss and no one wants to team up with him, of course, he can only go in alone. You'll see, in just a few minutes, he'll come out in defeat, maybe he can't even kill a small monster. I think so too, but this person is really pitiful. For the sake of face, he wasted an instance opportunity for nothing. Someone shook their head and sighed. Instance name, Village Guardian. Level restriction, less than or equal to level 50. Number of players, less than or equal to 8. Instance cooldown, 7 days. Reminder, level adaptation complete, player count adaptation complete, instance cooldown complete, entering instance, please select difficulty. Easy, normal, hard, nightmare, realistic. True. Chen Yu directly chose the highest difficulty. The cooldown time for the instance is long, so naturally, the highest difficulty should be chosen to maximize the rewards. As for whether they can defeat it, let's check the Forbidden Curse. After confirming the difficulty, the surrounding space fluctuated like ripples on water. A few seconds later, the surroundings transformed into a different scene. "Hello, brave warrior. Welcome to our vanguard village." An old man with the words, "Village Chief," above his head walked up to Chen Yu. Chen Yu knew that this person was the NPC guide for the instance, so he said, "Hello, Village Chief. Is there anything I can help you with?" A very standard dialogue for a quest. As expected, the village chief said, "Recently, Vanguard Village has been under attack by goblins. We are short on defense personnel. Can you help us defend the village?" "Of course." Chen Yu nodded. Hint: you have accepted the instance quest, Defend the Village. Quest content: help Vanguard Village withstand the attack of 10 waves of goblins. Completing the quest allows for instance settlement. Failing the quest or dying will result in exiting the instance, with half of the instance rewards lost. Warning: due to your selection of the true difficulty, the instance protection mechanism is disabled. Mechanism change: dying in the instance will result in true death. Failing the quest will result in exiting the instance and losing all rewards, with permanent inability to enter the instance on true difficulty again. Chen Yu was not surprised by the warning. During cultural class, there was a unit specifically dedicated to discussing instance difficulty. The punishment for failing a true difficulty instance was an important knowledge point that was emphasized with a red line. After accepting the quest, the village chief gave Chen Yu a set of generic equipment. Vanguard Village leather armor. Quality: common, white. Restrictions: none. Effects: plus 100 HP, plus 5 defense. Explanation: quest item, wearable, cannot be taken out of the instance. A complete set of equipment including a helmet, upper body, lower body, shoes, and weapon. The attributes were roughly equivalent to level 30 white grade equipment. The key point was that there were no level restrictions. Even a completely new novice player could greatly increase their combat power by wearing it. After putting on the equipment, Chen Yu went to the city wall. Although it was called a city wall, it was actually just a less than 3-meter high earthen slope. This side of the city was sloping, allowing people to walk up, while the outside was vertical, making it easier to defend. On the city wall, there were some spear soldiers standing. Chen Yu used the detection skill and revealed their attributes. Vanguard Village Warrior. Template. Minion. Level 20. Attributes: Strength 120, Agility 135, Constitution 120, Spirit 100. Skills: Thrust Level 3, Basic Spear Technique Level 5. These spear soldiers were considered top-notch in the minion template, with attributes twice as high as ordinary minions of the same level. Perhaps even if the players were not performing well, relying on these spear soldiers, they could withstand several waves of attacks. Vanguard Village was built on a mountain, with only one side having a city wall, which was about 400 meters long. There were about 100 warriors in the village, evenly distributed to take care of the entire city wall. Roar! Just then, a horn sounded. Upon hearing the horn, the Vanguard Village warriors quickly rushed to the city wall from various corners of the village, ready for battle. Chen Yu looked out towards the outside of the city. A few hundred meters away, there was a dense white fog. Some small green-skinned creatures rushed out from the white fog. These monsters are covered in wrinkles, wearing tattered clothes, and are no taller than 1.4 meters. In their hands, they hold either wooden sticks or rusty and broken swords. Some of them are even missing arms and legs, crawling on the ground, resembling mutated zombies. At first glance, they are weak and feeble, not even worthy of being considered cannon fodder. Chen Yu put on his detective glasses and cast a detection spell. Weak goblins. Template: Small monster. Level 10. Attributes: Strength 30, Agility 30, Constitution 32, Spirit 20. Skills: None. Indeed, they are just a group of cannon fodder. After a few minutes, no more monsters appeared in the white mist. The first batch of monsters consisted of about 300. Due to the huge difference in attributes, even if Chen Yu didn't take action, the Vanguard Village warriors could hold their ground and there would be no casualties. However, the experience gained from killing monsters by the Vanguard Village warriors would not be credited to Chen Yu. Therefore, Chen Yu summoned 100 thorn vine fiends to guard the city. After about 10 minutes, the goblins ran chaotically towards the city walls. The goblin that ran over first probably had poor eyesight and mistook the thorn vine fiends for human girls. It drooled, let out an excited roar, and charged towards the thorn vine fiends. Fortunately, the thorn vine fiends couldn't understand the goblin's actions and had no feelings of anger. Seeing the enemy approaching, it raised its hand. A vine whip suddenly grew to over 10 meters long and smashed down on the green-skinned creature's head. The goblin, still immersed in its delusion of violating a human girl, didn't have time to react before its head was smashed by the whip. Killed level 10 goblin, experience plus 30. This experience rate feels great. Seeing the prompt, Chen Yu's eyes lit up. When fighting ordinary level 10 wild monsters outside, the experience gained is only around 10 points. The experience gained from monsters in the instance is 3 times that. Under the city walls, a large group of weak goblins swarmed. The thorn vine fiends extended all 5 vine tendrils from their hands and, when swung, made a woo-woo sound as they broke through the air. For a moment, countless green vines danced like mad snakes. In Chen Yu's ears, a continuous stream of prompt sounds rang out. Killed level 11 goblin, experience plus 3. Killed level 10 goblin, experience plus 30. Killed level 12 goblin, experience plus 36. In less than a minute, hundreds of goblins turned into incomplete corpses. Halfway through, there were still a few goblins with lame legs crawling towards the vanguard village's city walls. When they saw that the majority of the army had been wiped out in less than 5 minutes, they were dumbfounded, unsure whether to continue advancing or retreat quickly. Chen Yu noticed the dilemma of these few goblins and made a considerate decision for them. A few seconds later, the thorn vine fiends rushed over and ended their painful lives with a few whips. On the city walls, the vanguard village warriors were initially dumbfounded, but then burst into cheers. Thus, the first wave of attacks ended. Impatient to wait, Chen Yu ordered the thorn vine fiends to charge into the white mist and start killing. However, as soon as the thorn vine fiends reached the edge of the white mist, they collided with an invisible wall. So the white mist is the edge of the instance and also the spawn point. Helpless, Chen Yu could only order the thorn vine fiends to retreat. After a moment, the prompt sounded. Prompt: you repelled the first wave of goblin attacks, contribution plus 10. Prompt: due to your outstanding performance in the first wave of attacks, additional contribution plus 100. Prompt: contribution can be used to exchange for vanguard village supplies, including equipment, medicine, buildings, special items, etc. cannot be taken out of the instance. Chen Yu opened the exchange list to check. Old wooden arrow tower. Shoots an arrow every 5 seconds, requires a contribution of 10. Brand new wooden arrow tower. Shoots an arrow every 3 seconds, requires a contribution of 20. Old stone arrow tower. Shoots 3 arrows every 5 seconds, requires a contribution of 100. Brand new stone arrow tower, upgraded stone walls, powerful crossbows, cannons. Elite vanguard village helmet. Rare equipment quest requires a contribution of 20. Stamina potion. Restores 100 stamina, requires a contribution of 10. Divine medicine potion. Restores 100 spiritual power, requires a contribution of 10. So, this is actually a tower defense instance. The correct instance process should be to defeat monsters and accumulate contributions to upgrade the city's defenses. The better the city's defenses are built in the early stages, the higher the late stage benefits will be. However, for Chen, what's the point of city defense? Chen Yu directly exchanged all his contributions for stamina potions and divine medicine potions. Then he took Xiao Yan and Xiao Feng out of the unsurpassable sacred ground, playing with them to pass the time while accumulating proficiency in his professional skills. Half an hour later, the second wave of attacks arrived. This time, it was still a group of weak and feeble monsters, but there were more of them, easily over 1,000. With a command from Chen Yu, 100 thorny spirits rushed forward. This time, the goblins had just appeared and hadn't even had a chance to charge when they were beaten into a pulp by countless vines falling from the sky. Hint: you repelled the second wave of goblin attacks, contribution plus 20. Hint: due to your outstanding performance in the second wave of attacks, additional contribution plus 200. Hint: Contributions can be used to exchange for Vanguard Village supplies, including equipment, medicine, buildings, special items, etc. cannot be taken out of the instance. After the second wave ended, the thorny spirits did not retreat but blocked the monster spawn point. The width of the spawn point was only about 100 meters, and it was completely blocked by the thorny spirits. Many vines had nowhere to go and were forced to retract. Another half an hour later, the third wave of attacks arrived. As soon as a goblin walked out of the white mist, it was simultaneously struck by several vines and instantly torn apart. Killed level 16 goblin, experience plus 48. Killed level 20 goblin, experience plus 60. Killed level 17 goblin, experience plus 51. Chen Yu didn't even have time to use his detection skill, so he could only see their levels from the experience gain hints. A few minutes later, Chen Yu's experience bar grew a little, and the third wave of attacks ended. Immediately after, the fourth wave, the fifth wave, the sixth wave. Until the 10th wave, the vanguard warriors defending the village didn't see a single goblin. They didn't even know what they should be doing on the city walls. But due to the rules, they couldn't charge out or retreat. Some vanguard warriors, bored out of their minds, sat in groups of 3 or 2 on the ground and started playing cards. Chen Yu was very surprised and went over to watch, discovering a card game he had never seen before. Is it programmed, or do they have independent thinking? After thinking for a moment, Chen Yu believed it should be the former. In their logic, there might be a setting that they should engage in some form of entertainment when they have nothing to do. Killed level 35 goblin, experience plus 105. With the final kill prompt, the 10th wave of attacks came to an end. Hint: you repelled the 10th wave of goblin attacks, contribution plus 100. Hint: due to your outstanding performance in the 10th wave of attacks, additional contribution plus 1000. Hint: contributions can be used to exchange for Vanguard Village supplies, including equipment, medicine, buildings, special items, etc. cannot be taken out of the instance. Hint: you have completed the rank 1 instance mission, do you want to exit and settle the instance? Hint: since you have chosen the real difficulty, your instance progress will be saved when you exit, and you can enter again and continue from where you left off after the cooldown period. No settlement. Chen Yu decisively made a negative choice. River Sun High School Copy Square. Chen Yu disappeared into the copy teleportation gate, and a warrior and an archer released Li Wei. Why did you guys drag me? Li Wei angrily glared at his warrior teammate behind him. Li Wei, please don't be so stubborn, the mage girl next to him said. We know that Chen Yu is your good friend, your bro, but can you consider our feelings? Our team only has 6 people, right? The number of players in the 3 novice copies at school is limited to 8. Why can't we form another group? Li Wei looked around at his teammates. Yes, we only have 6 people, but this configuration is enough to clear the copy and get the rewards. Having one more person won't have any additional effects, it will only dilute our experience gains. Why should we form another group? If you want to invite someone with strong combat power, that's one thing, but inviting someone who will only drag us down and freeload is what? Li Wei, you need to understand that you are the core of the team, but you don't have the right to harm our collective interests for your personal feelings. Quote. Li Wei fell silent. He felt that his teammates around him were very unfamiliar. They were usually kind and supportive, making him do the dirty work when grinding monsters. But as soon as he made a suggestion that seemed unfavorable to them, they instantly united and turned against him. Yeah, they're just temporary teammates. What abilities do they have to spoil me? Can I take a beating? Li Wei laughed at himself. Near the copy teleportation gate. It's now 9:32, I can guarantee that he won't come out after 9:40. Otherwise, I'll write my name Lin Dao Nan backward. Lin Dao Nan rolled up his sleeve and looked at his watch, saying firmly. Really, Nan Dao Lin, he entered the guarding village, where he doesn't even have to fight a single monster in the first wave. Someone next to him said sarcastically, if you reverse your name again, won't it just go back to the original? Anyway, he won't last long. Lin Dao Nan's face turned red. Who do you think will come out? A pleasant female voice sounded. Lin Dao Nan turned around and saw the crowd around him automatically dispersing. Su Miaoyu, wearing a set of blue and purple equipment, walking slowly. You're here. Lin Dao Nan instantly put on a smile. I was just talking about Chen Yu. He's a planter, but he dared to enter the copy alone. What else can you call it if not seeking death? He thinks he's so great being the youngest, but he's just a show-off who cares about his face. And there are rumors about Chen Yu and you, it's really meaningless. Some people in this world always think that if they don't step on others, they can't show their nobility. But they should first find a urinal and take a look at themselves. Lu Pingping emerged from the crowd, smiling but not smiling. What do you mean, Lu Pingping? I'm stating the facts. I'm stating the facts too. Alright, stop arguing. Do you guys know what difficulty he entered? Su Miaoyu curiously asked. It should be easy, right? Lin Dao Nan said uncertainly. The difficulty of the copy is chosen by the player after entering, and outsiders cannot observe it. Oh, Su Miaoyu nodded, not surprised at all that Chen Yu entered the copy alone. After the misunderstanding with Chen Yu in the skill practice room in the morning, she described the appearance of the thorny spirit to Qin Lan and asked her again. The answer she got was that the plant's life was definitely legendary level. Carrying legendary level plant life into the instance, it's not just easy to solo, even breaking through normal and even hard difficulties is not difficult. Right, Yuan, you also think that Chen Yu is an ignorant person, don't you? Lin Daonan smiled obsequiously. If he were to act in a play, he would definitely portray the image of an old servant perfectly. I think it's you who is ignorant. Su Miaoyu said coldly. Also, Lin Daonan, please address me by my full name. Lin Daonan's face immediately turned red with anger and embarrassment. What's so good about that Chen Yu? Is he worth defending like this? He's just a planter, destined to have no future. Hey, Su Miaoyu sneered, how about we make a bet? What are we betting on? I bet that he can clear the instance. If you lose, you have to apologize to him in person. If I lose, I'll give you 10,000 gold coins. 10,000 gold coins. Lin Daonan's breathing became rapid. Alright, I'll bet with you. He wasn't poor, but 10,000 gold coins was not a small amount for him. As for losing, he never even considered it. A planter who just changed jobs a few days ago, able to clear a beginner's instance. His name should be written backwards. Inside the instance, the goblin corpses piled up at the monster spawn point. The thorny vine spirits couldn't contain their excitement as they treated the pile of corpses as a buffet, greedily devouring the essence of blood and flesh. Chen Yu watched with amazement, never expecting that monster corpses could also be used as fertilizer for plant life. Hint: you chose not to settle, the mission evaluation will accumulate during settlement. Hint: you have received a mission, guarding the village rank 2. Withstand the attacks of 10 waves of goblins, ensuring that the vanguard village is not breached by monsters. At some point, the old village chief also climbed up the city wall and said to Chen Yu, "Respected warrior, thank you for protecting the vanguard village. As a token of gratitude, the high-level armory of the vanguard village is now open to you." Hint: you have obtained the vanguard village merit high-level exchange permission. Chen Yu opened the exchange list and took a look. All the exchange items had been upgraded from the previous list. The arrow tower now had an advanced version, the steel arrow tower, and there was also a new building, the cannon tower. Additional exchangeable equipment was added, the Vanguard Village Warrior set, which was also a rare level, but its attributes were much higher than the Elite set, roughly equivalent to a level 50 rare equipment. Chen Yu continued to exchange for a bunch of high-level stamina potions and divine medicine water, and began practicing his skills. The thorny vine spirits had extra fertilizer, and the skill accelerated growth became even more powerful. Warrior, the enemy's attacks will be stronger next. You can upgrade the city defenses to cope. Seeing that Chen Yu didn't continue to exchange, the old village chief couldn't help but remind him that the Vanguard Village's city defenses were still at the initial version. This is your Vanguard Village's city defense, not my home's. Why should I use merits to upgrade it for you? Can't you upgrade it yourselves with materials? Chen Yu retorted. The old village chief was suddenly speechless. Perhaps because he had never been asked this question before, he fell into a state of confusion. Chen Yu ignored the old village chief, playing with the motionless primal spirit Xiaofeng while continuing to release skills on the well-fed thorny vine spirits. The interval between the 10th and 11th waves was a bit long. It wasn't until 2 hours later that new green-skinned goblins rushed out from the white mist. "Ladies, we have guests." Chen Yu released another 100 Thornvine demons from the unsurpassable sacred ground and commanded them to charge forward to meet the enemy. They were all her own girls, and she couldn't favor one over the other. The group that had already eaten their fill gathered around Chen Yu, ready to receive her blessings. The newly released batch of Thornvine demons had even higher quality than the previous one. Among them were over 10 legendary level Thorn Spirit demons. The 11th wave of enemies consisted of level 35 to 40 green-skinned goblins, whose attributes were still unimpressive and inferior to the Vanguard Village warriors. Facing Thornvine demons whose attributes were calculated in the thousands, they died in a rhythmic manner. Those who could take 2 steps after emerging from the white mist were considered to have lived a long life. Most of them had their lower bodies still inside while their upper bodies were gone. Some had just extended a hand or a head, only to be eagerly pulled out by the vines. After being unevenly divided, they became the dinner table for the Thornvine demons. A few minutes later, the attack ended. The Thornvine demons stood ready, waiting for the arrival of the next wave of self-service. Chen Yu didn't get a good look at what the monsters looked like, but from the experience gained from the kills, she saw a few different things. Killed level 30 Elite Goblin Warrior, experience plus 300. Killed level 31 Elite Goblin Assassin, experience plus 310. Killed level 30 Elite Goblin Priest, experience plus 300. Among this wave of goblins, there were 8 elite monsters mixed in. Judging from their names, they formed a professional team. The standard 4-dimensional attributes for ordinary level 30 elite monsters were 170 to 180. Considering that goblins as a race had a tendency to exaggerate, their actual attributes might only be slightly higher than the Vanguard Village warriors. With such attributes, coupled with the monster tide, it was still quite simple to wipe out the Vanguard Village. According to Chen Yu's estimation, the warriors on the Vanguard Village walls could withstand 2 waves of attacks on their own. From the 3rd wave onwards, it was possible for monsters to slip through. From the 4th wave onwards, casualties would occur. If players didn't contribute at all, by the 5th wave, a large number of monsters would slip through, and the army's losses would exceed half. The 6th wave was guaranteed to be wiped out, with no survivors. Although the attributes were overwhelming, there were only 100 Vanguard Village warriors, while there were thousands of monsters. Starting from the 11th wave, without the city defenses and professional assistance, it was estimated that each wave could easily wipe out the Vanguard Village. The monsters were very strong. Even if 8 coordinated level 50 hidden professionals were brought in, it would not be easy to deal with the 11th wave. However, facing over 100 extremely hungry attribute monsters, the elite of the 11th wave might not have much difference from the weak and sickly of the 1st wave. Waiting for half an hour, spawning monsters for 5 minutes, and repeating the cycle. By the 15th wave, Chen Yu summoned Thornvine demons to block the door, and then replaced them with 100 Hunter Flower demons and 100 Lily Flower demons to continue blocking the door. Hunter Flower demons were epic-level evolved forms of man-eating flowers, with a humanoid appearance even more advanced than Thornvine demons. They looked like innocent and harmless human little girls, tender and delicate. Their hands, feet, and hair were all in human form. But once prey approached their attack range, a huge man-eating flower could quickly emerge from any part of their bodies and devour the prey. A single Hunter Flower demon could have up to 10 man-eating flowers emerge at the same time. The legendary level evolved form of the Hunter Flower demon, the Gluttonous Spirit demon, was even more terrifying, capable of devouring 20 prey at the same time. At that moment, the brush monster mouth shrouded in white mist was in full bloom. Several gluttonous spirits directly opened the man-eating flowers and pressed them against the air wall, motionless, waiting for the monsters to walk in. The lily spirits had weak melee abilities and couldn't squeeze in at all. They could only squat in the back row, watching eagerly but dare not speak up. Fortunately, the number of monsters increased, and the hunter flower spirits couldn't digest them all. The monster corpses began to pile up, giving the pitiful lily spirits a chance to absorb nutrients. By the 20th wave, the small monsters had already become level 45 to 50 ordinary goblins. The number of elite monster squads increased to 10, and their level also increased to level 50. Unfortunately, it was useless. Chen Yu still hadn't seen any monsters show up. Hint: you repelled the 20th wave of goblin attacks, contribution plus 200. Hint: due to your outstanding performance in the 20th wave of attacks, additional contribution plus 2000. Hint: contributions can be used to exchange for resources in the Vanguard Village, including equipment, medicine, buildings, special items, etc. cannot be taken out of the instance. Hint: you have completed the rank 2 segment of the instance mission. Do you want to exit and settle the instance? Hint: since you have chosen the real difficulty, the instance progress will be saved. You can enter again after the cooldown period and inherit the progress. No settlement. Hint: you choose not to settle, and the mission evaluation will accumulate during settlement. Hint: you have received the mission, guarding the village rank 3 segment. Withstand 10 waves of goblin attacks and ensure that the Vanguard Village is not breached by monsters. Based on the time interval between the 10th and 11th waves, the next wave of attacks would probably have to wait for more than 2 hours. The monster corpses had been completely devoured by the hunter flower spirits and lily spirits. Chen Yu summoned back the well-fed plant lives, each of them undergoing rapid growth, and then sent them back to the unsurpassable sacred ground. Only a few newly evolved thorn spirits were left as targets for skill release. What truly promoted the evolution of plant lives were the characteristics of the unsurpassable sacred ground and the effects of the tree of life. The monster corpses and rapid growth skills were just additional fertilizers. Sure enough, as soon as they returned to the unsurpassable sacred ground, several plant lives were promoted and became legendary level. Warrior, thank you for saving the Vanguard Village. After a long reboot, the old village chief appeared again. As a token of gratitude, I have applied for your qualification to exchange military supplies in Toot City. Toot City already knows about the situation the Vanguard Village encountered. Reinforcements and the quartermaster will arrive soon. So there are reinforcements. Chen Yu nodded. That makes sense. The strength of the monsters in the 20th wave is such that even 8 top-tier hidden professions might not be able to hold on. Not to mention the 21st wave, it's a guaranteed defeat. In this way, the rank 3 segment of the instance mission loses its meaning. If no one can fight, then what was it made for? But if there are reinforcements, it can be explained. After about 3 minutes, Chen Yu heard a chaotic sound of horse hooves. A team of cavalry rushed into the narrow valley behind the Vanguard Village. Their warhorses were all spirited and strong, both the riders and horses wearing armor, looking mighty. The leader of the cavalry held a heavy sword, his armor emitting a purple light. This efficiency is incredible. Chen Yu secretly gave a thumbs up and went to greet the village chief. He had already accumulated 15,000 points of merit and was waiting for the quartermaster from Toot City to come and see what good items were available. Chapter 31. Elite Heavy Cavalry of Toot City. Template. Elite. Level. 30. Attributes. Strength 310, Agility 230, Constitution 350, Spirit 200. Skills. Fearless Charge LV5, Piercing LV5. Commander of the Heavy Cavalry, Kosti. Template. Boss. Level. 40. Attributes. Strength 1250, Agility 830, Constitution 1300, Spirit 600. Skills. This is too strong, isn't it? After Chen Yu investigated the attributes of the reinforcements, he couldn't help but feel puzzled. The Vanguard Village camp suddenly gained 200 level 30 elite monsters and a level 40 boss. Based on the previous increase in monster strength, these reinforcements alone should be enough to defend Vanguard Village. Of course, it's also possible that after the 21st wave, the combat power sent by the Goblin camp will rapidly increase. Or, there may be problems with these reinforcements themselves. For example, being reassigned midway, the commander making wrong decisions, or some traitors defecting, and so on. Who is the mayor of Vanguard Village? The commander of the cavalry, Kosti, rode into the village and shouted loudly. I am. The old mayor hurriedly ran over, bowing and nodding in front of the horse wearing silver armor. Now, I will take over the defense of Vanguard Village. Do you have any objections? Kosti said coldly. Of course not, from now on, you are the supreme commander of Vanguard Village. The old mayor smiled obsequiously, the wrinkles on his old face bunching up like a chrysanthemum. I heard that Vanguard Village has recruited a group of outsiders, where are they? Kosti asked. Please wait a moment, General, I will call them over. The old mayor turned around and walked to Chen Yu, who was standing aside watching the scene, and said, "Warrior, please follow me." Chen Yu followed the old mayor to the front of the commander of the cavalry as instructed. Are you the warriors who are helping the Empire defend Vanguard Village? Very well, I express the Empire's gratitude to you on behalf of them. Kosti's sharp gaze swept over Chen Yu. When he saw the thorny spirit behind Chen Yu, his eyes suddenly revealed a hint of greed and cunning. Chen Yu couldn't help but be amazed. He had been observing Kosti, and Kosti's change in expression naturally couldn't escape his eyes. An NPC for a mission actually had thoughts about his plant life, which was quite interesting. Where is the quartermaster? Chen Yu had no desire to argue with the NPC and was ready to find the quartermaster to exchange for high-level items. If it were an ordinary team of professionals, they might need to get close to Kosti to persuade him to adopt their tactics. But for Chen Yu, whether Kosti and this group of cavalry came or not made no difference. The quartermaster hasn't arrived yet. Kosti's face flashed a hint of unease. Then he continued, I am now the supreme commander of Vanguard Village, and you must also be under my command, obey my orders. Do you have any objections? No. Very well. Kosti nodded in satisfaction. I heard that without the Empire's orders, you have personally modified the defensive facilities of Vanguard Village. In consideration of your assistance in defending Vanguard Village, I will temporarily pardon your offense. Now, I order you to dismantle any unnecessary buildings that do not belong to Vanguard Village. What? Can you say that again? Chen Yu suspected that he had misheard. I order you to dismantle any unnecessary buildings that do not belong to Vanguard Village. Kosti said sternly. Now, act quickly. Otherwise, I will kill you on charges of rebelling against the Empire. General, may I ask if you intend to build new defense facilities? Chen Yu asked. Vanguard Village does not need any additional defense facilities. My army alone can conquer everything. Indeed, the copy mission won't be given for free. The problem lies with the commander of the reinforcements. Kasite seems to have a stubborn and reckless personality. For a typical professional team, at this stage, they may need to improve Kasite's favorability or play some tricks to turn him into a positive combat force. But Chen Yu doesn't need to. I told you to dismantle the unnecessary buildings, didn't you hear? Kasite's eyes flashed with cold light as he drew the large sword hanging from his saddle, pointing it at Chen Yu. Take action or die. Sir, sir, the old village chief quickly hugged Kasite's leg. This warrior hasn't built any buildings in our Vanguard Village. You can check for yourself. No construction. How is that possible? Kasite looked puzzled and said to the knight beside him, Go and take a look. The knight rode off, circled around the walls of the Vanguard Village, and then returned to Kasite. General, there are indeed no unnecessary buildings in the Vanguard Village. That's good. Kasite looked at Chen Yu again. So now, I command you to dismantle the walls of the Vanguard Village. My cavalry needs to charge, and the walls are an obstacle. Before the next monster attack, I don't want any obstacles ahead. Otherwise, I will execute you on charges of disobeying military orders. Chen Yu frowned, feeling that this NPC was a bit abnormal, with personality defects and even mental illness that couldn't explain his abnormal behavior. First, he was too targeted towards players. Second, the orders he gave were all of the type that pleased the enemy and hurt the allies. So, Chen Yu took a few steps back, waved his hand, and released a group of plant creatures, ordering, deal with him. A thorny spirit reacted quickly. As soon as it heard the command, its fingers turned into vines, creating an afterimage and lashing out at Kasite. Bang! The vines struck Kasite solidly. After all, he was a boss with over 1,000 physical attributes and wearing a set of purple equipment. He didn't die immediately but fell to the ground, spitting out blood. Somebody is rebelling against the Empire, kill him. Kasite shouted loudly, then crawled and rolled into the formation of knights. Kill. The knight who had just inspected the walls shouted loudly and led the charge towards Chen Yu. The formation of 200 knights also followed and charged towards Chen Yu. Kill all who come. Chen Yu ordered the plant creatures. Vines and giant carnivorous flowers flew through the sky. The knights were only level 30 elite monsters and couldn't withstand a casual attack from the economic flower spirit, let alone the devouring of the hunter flower spirit. The first knight to charge forward was bitten on the head and carried away by a carnivorous flower before he could take a few steps. The warhorse under him was struck by a vine, splitting it in half. A thorny spirit swung its vines, sweeping the ground. Over a dozen warhorses fell, and the knights on them were torn into pieces by countless vines before they could fall to the ground. In less than 5 minutes, all 200 knights were wiped out. As for the knight commander Kassite, he didn't know which greedy spirit had chewed him up as a snack. Chen Yu opened the prompt box and checked the kill notifications. Killed level 30 elite Toot heavy cavalry, unable to gain experience due to being in the Toot city camp. Killed level 30 elite rebellious Toot heavy cavalry, experience plus 300. Killed level 30 elite Toot heavy cavalry, unable to gain experience due to being in the Toot city camp. Killed level 30 elite Toot heavy cavalry, unable to gain experience due to being in the Toot city camp. Killed level 40 boss rebellious Toot heavy cavalry commander Kassite, experience plus 80,000. So it's a 25 no wonder. Chen Yu found Kassite's kill notification and understood. After a while, a group of vines and flowers rolled a pile of items emitting various colors in front of Chen Yu. These were all dropped by the 25 heavy cavalry. A large pile of items, most of which are equipment. Among them is a set of level 30 purple equipment. Judging by the shape, it should have dropped from Kosti. Heavy Cavalry Commander's Helmet. Quality: Epic. Restrictions: Knight class, level 30 or above, Strength 100 or above, Constitution 100 or above. Effect: Constitution plus 50, Strength plus 50, Defense plus 100. Heavy Cavalry Commander's Armor. Quality: Epic. Restrictions: Knight class, level 30 or above, Strength 100 or above, Constitution 100 or above. Effect: Constitution plus 100, Defense plus 200. Heavy Cavalry Commander's Leggings. Epic. Heavy Cavalry Commander's Boots. Epic. Heavy Cavalry Commander's Cape. Epic. Set effect: all 4 attributes plus 200, Defense plus 500. Set skill: Fearless Charge. Launch a fearless charge against a target, with Strength plus 100%, Agility plus 100%, Defense plus 100%. The charge will deal damage to the target based on strength and charge speed, and stun the target for 5 seconds. Supreme Grade. Chen Yu's eyes lit up. Unfortunately, it is restricted to the Knight class, so he cannot equip it. However, with such powerful epic grade equipment, it can definitely be sold for a sky-high price in the trading mall. In addition to this set of purple equipment, there are also 3 complete sets of blue equipment, also restricted to the Knight class. They can be considered weaker versions of the commander's set. The rest are some miscellaneous items and junk equipment. Among the miscellaneous items, there is a letter shimmering with golden light. The golden light does not represent the quality of the equipment, but rather that it is a special purpose quest item. Chen Yu tore open the envelope, inside of which was a badge engraved with a figure of a suffering person, as well as a piece of paper. Quest item: Baron Stadel's letter. Description: as the deputy officer of Toot City's defense, Baron Stadel chose to betray the Empire and join the Abyss Demons. Vanguard Village is the letter he submitted. He contacts the demons through this letter, which is carried and delivered by his confidant, Kosti. Hint: with this letter, you can persuade the righteous-hearted Toot Heavy Cavalry. Quest item: Abyss Lord Badge. Description: a badge made by Abyss Lord Unicievers, used to commend the guides of hostile forces. With this badge, you can exchange for Abyss power from Unicievers. Hint: you can use it to prove the crimes of the Heavy Cavalry Commander Kosti, or trade with Unicievers. So, this is how the game is played. Seeing these 2 items, Chen Yu suddenly realized. No wonder most of the heavy cavalry he killed were from the Toot City camp, with only a few being rebels. The correct game process should be: realize that Kosti is suspicious, pretend to comply and secretly investigate, steal the envelope, persuade the heavy cavalry, besiege the boss. After dealing with the boss, there would probably be dozens of elite heavy cavalry left. But the flower spirits didn't care and didn't leave any reinforcements for Chen Yu. At this moment, the villagers of Vanguard Village were shocked to see Chen Yu and the supporting heavy cavalry clash and completely wipe out the enemy. Chen Yu made the letter public, and they calmed down. Thank you, fearless warrior, you have once again saved Vanguard Village. The old village chief finished reading the letter, sweating profusely. If it weren't for Chen Yu's wisdom and martial prowess, seeing through Kosti's rebellion, Vanguard Village would have been doomed. Hint: you have seen through the conspiracy of the Toot City Heavy Cavalry Commander Kosti, single-handedly quelled the rebellion, contribution plus 5000. 2 hours later, the 21st wave of goblin attacks arrived as scheduled. This time, the goblin attack was of higher quality than the 20th wave. Goblin Cavalry. Template. Minion. Level. 50. Attributes. Strength 110, Agility 110, Constitution 110, Spirit 85. Skill. Charge Level 3. The attributes of the small monsters have finally reached an average level, with a quantity of about 2,000. There are approximately 100 elite monsters. Ladies, it's time to eat. Chen Yu released all the plant lives. More than 500 plant lives waved their vines and flowers, rushing towards the enemy eagerly. Eat. Xiao Feng, who had curled up in Chen Yu's hand, suddenly shivered and broke free from Chen Yu's palm, flying into the air. Where is it? Where is the food? She swallowed her saliva and looked around in confusion. Chen Yu. This is the first time Xiao Feng has spoken voluntarily since she was born. Hee, come here, Xiao Feng, I'll give you this to eat. Xiao Yan mischievously grabbed Chen Yu's finger and stuffed it into Xiao Feng's mouth. Xiao Feng instinctively opened her mouth and licked Chen Yu's finger. Can't eat. Disappointed, Xiao Feng shrunk back into Chen Yu's pocket. Starting from the 21st wave, the quality and quantity of the monsters have increased significantly. However, they still couldn't avoid becoming fertilizer for the flowers. By the 25th wave, a level 40 boss appeared among the enemies. As soon as it showed up, it was bitten by 2 greedy spirit plants at the same time. Because the BOSS was quite nutritious, neither of the greedy spirit plants was willing to back down. In the end, the poor boss was torn into 2 halves, with each greedy spirit plant claiming one. From then on, there was a boss in every wave. There were even 2 bosses in the 30th wave. The number of elite monsters also increased. The final wave had 500 elite monsters, accounting for half of all the monsters, allowing the flower spirits to have a hearty meal. Your level has increased to level 44. Your level has increased to level 45. After defeating all 30 waves of monsters, Chen Yu leveled up twice in a row. The level cap for rapid growth and plant enhancement unlocked at level 10. The plant lives under his command also leveled up twice, reaching level 45. The legendary level spirits, in addition to leveling up, automatically reached level 10 in their skills. This is a strange phenomenon. According to Joe Bowen, the level of plant lives needs to be slowly cultivated by the planter. It requires a large amount of magic crystals, special items, and other things as fertilizer to level up until it matches the level of the planter. However, the plant lives under Chen Yu's command have always been on par with him in terms of level. As long as he levels up, the plant lives immediately level up as well. There is no time difference between the two. Of course, Chen Yu only casually asked about it before, without revealing his special circumstances. This phenomenon should also be one of the hidden effects of the unsurpassable sacred ground. The power of the unsurpassable sacred ground goes without saying. By simply planting a seed, Chen Yu can harvest a fully equipped legendary level plant life after a period of time. Among the hundreds of thousands of hidden professionals, dozens or even hundreds combined cannot defeat any of Chen Yu's plant lives of the same level. And this is just a small additional effect of the unsurpassable sacred ground. The main effect of the unsurpassable sacred ground is the world tree that has been sublimated and the birth of the primordial elves, which are city-destroying beings from birth. And the unsurpassable sacred ground is not even Chen Yu's innate talent, it is just a talent product. Chen Yu couldn't help but look at the talent column on the attribute panel. Absolute enhancement, unsurpassable level, designate an object for absolute enhancement, including but not limited to life, items, skills, talents. Cooldown, 2%. I wonder when the cooldown will be completed for the next enhancement. Based on this progress, it doesn't seem to be too slow. Hint: you have repelled the 30th wave of goblin attacks, contribution plus 300. Hint: due to your outstanding performance in the 30th wave of attacks, additional contribution plus 300. Hint: Congratulations on repelling all of the goblin attacks, additional contribution plus 10000. Hint: contributions can be exchanged for merit points at the military supply officer in Toot City. Merit points can be used to exchange for rewards can be brought out of the instance. Hint: you have completed the rank 3 instance mission. You can settle the instance or enter free exploration mode. Settlement can be done at any time during non-combat state in free exploration mode. Hint: since you have chosen the real difficulty, you cannot enter the same difficulty after settlement. So, contribution points have this use. I knew there was a reason for rewarding contribution points in the last wave. Oh, there's also a free exploration mode. I won't settle for now. Instances on the real difficulty can only be experienced once and cannot be repeated. This free exploration mode is probably one of the rewards from the instance. It gives players enough time to continue gaining experience or improve the instance evaluation. Respected warrior, thank you for repelling all of the goblin attacks and defending our vanguard village, the old village chief sang his praises as he approached. The military supply officer from Toot City has arrived. To repay your kindness, Toot City will grant you the highest level exchange privileges. Chen Yu followed the old village chief to the village entrance. A limping old soldier was leaning against a short tree, sitting on a stone. Beside him were 2 horses pulling a carriage. Respected warrior, greetings. I am the military supply officer of Toot City. Your merit will be forever remembered by the Empire. The old soldier stood up and bowed to Chen Yu. Hint: you have obtained the exchange privileges for Toot City's merit points. Exchange list: 1 merit point, 100 Vanguard Village contribution. Toot Elite Profession Sets. Level 50 Blue Equipment 5-piece set, 100 merit points. Toot Commander Profession Sets. Level 50 Purple Equipment 5-piece set, 1000 merit points. Low-level Vitality Potion. Recovers 10% mental power and physical strength within 100 seconds, 1 merit point. Middle-level Vitality Potion. Recovers 20% mental power and physical strength within 100 seconds, 5 merit points. High-level Vitality Potion. Recovers 50% mental power and physical strength within 100 seconds, 20 merit points. Transcendent level Vitality Potion. Recovers 100% mental power and physical strength within 100 seconds, 100 merit points. Portable Excellent Arrow Tower. Attacks once per second by a level 50 elite archer, cannot be retracted after placement, 100 merit points. Portable Strong Attack Arrow Tower. Attacks 3 times per second by a level 50 elite archer, cannot be retracted after placement, 500 merit points. Toot City Wall Blueprint. Rare Grade City Wall Blueprint, 2000 merit points. Toot Arrow Tower Blueprint. Rare Grade Arrow Tower Blueprint, 1000 merit points. Ordinary Toot Warhorse. Plus 50% riding speed, 100 merit points. Rare Toot Warhorse. Plus 100% riding speed, 500 merit points. Cloudvine Seed. Beginner level rare plant life seed, 2000 merit points. These are all great items. All the items on the exchange list are supreme grade. Any one of them can be sold for a high price outside. Unfortunately, even if Chen Yu calculates everything, he can only exchange for 500 merit points, so he can't get many of the things he wants. After unlocking the exchange list, it can be opened at any time and place, so there's no rush to exchange for merit points. It's better to explore freely first and see if more merit points can be obtained. Respected warrior, this is a map of the surrounding area of Toot City. It should come in handy if you plan to travel outside. The military supply officer handed a map to Chen Yu. Thank you then. Chen Yu took the map. You're welcome, the quartermaster said. Welcome to Toot City. It's a beautiful place, you'll definitely like it. Given the opportunity, for sure. Chen Yu took the map and left, looking at it as he walked. The central location on the map was Pioneer Village. Pioneer Village was built at the exit of a canyon, with a city behind it called Toot City. There was also a city ahead, marked in red as the Goblin Capital. Under the jurisdiction of Toot City, there were a total of 13 villages including Pioneer Village. Under the jurisdiction of the Goblin Capital, there were a total of 27 villages. This is the way to earn merit points. Chen Yu looked at the small red dots and big red dots on the map. If all the goblins were wiped out, he should be able to earn a considerable amount of merit points. During the goblin attacks, there was a white mist surrounding Pioneer Village, and the edge of the mist was an air wall, making it impossible to leave. After 30 waves of attacks, the white mist had dissipated. Chen Yu sent out a thorny spirit to test if the air wall still existed. The thorny spirit rushed out and soon crossed the previous boundary of the white mist. Sure enough, the air wall no longer existed. The map boundary had expanded, allowing for exploration outside. Chen Yu chose a goblin village closest to Pioneer Village as his target. An army of over 500 plant creatures marched forward. After about half an hour, Chen Yu felt that continuing like this was not appropriate. According to the markings on the map, there were over 20 goblin villages, and the distance between any two adjacent ones was about 10 kilometers. He hadn't added any agility, so his speed was slow, and it would probably waste a lot of time to travel. So, Chen Yu simply put away all the plant creatures. He only left behind the 2 thorny spirits with the highest agility as mounts. 10 minutes later, the 2 thorny spirits completed the journey that would have taken Chen Yu 2 to 3 hours, arriving at the first goblin village. The goblin village was slightly larger than Pioneer Village and looked very messy. The dwellings were makeshift huts made of branches and weeds, with excrement and garbage scattered everywhere, emitting a strong stench throughout the village. Attack! Chen Yu had no desire to visit the village, so he released all the plant creatures and gave the order. Over 500 plant creatures quickly rushed into the village, killing any goblins they encountered. In the village, screams were heard one after another. In Chen Yu's mind, a continuous stream of notifications sounded. Killed level 15 goblin, experience plus 45. Killed level 33 elite goblin, experience plus 330. Killed level 30 goblin, experience plus 90. Killed level 50 goblin, experience plus 150. Tip: you have wiped out a goblin village, Toot City merit points plus 300. In less than 10 minutes, all the goblins in the village had turned into fertilizer. Chen Yu opened the attribute panel and took a look. The experience bar had increased from level 45 12% to level 45 24%. The goblins in one village provided a 12% experience boost, which was not bad. In addition, he earned 300 merit points. Together with the 500 points he had from guarding Pioneer Village, he had a total of 800 points. In the merit exchange list, the item Chen Yu was most interested in was the Toot City Commander's breeder set, and the other was the rare grade plant creature Mo Yun Vine's seed. At this rate, as long as he wiped out a few more goblin villages, he would be able to obtain them all. Yangzhong No. 1 Middle School Copy Square. The commotion caused by Chen Yu soloing the instance quickly subsided. After the novice players formed their teams, they entered their selected instances. In the instance square, there were only a few scattered people. Among them was Su Miaoyu's team. Su Miaoyu and Lin Daonan made a bet and proposed a large wager, so neither of them joined a team. The remaining teammates gathered around, acting as onlookers. Yuayu, how are things going between the two of you? When are you going to treat us to wedding candy? Lu Pingping patted Su Miaoyu's shoulder with an ambiguous smile on her face. Don't talk nonsense. It's not what you think. Su Miaoyu's face turned slightly red. Not what I think. Lu Pingping pretended to be shocked. Does that mean it's even faster than I thought? How far have you gone? Don't tell me, you've already done it. Hehe, tell me, how does it feel? Is he good? Lu Pingping squinted her eyes and smirked. You brat, you're asking for it. Su Miaoyu angrily pinched Lu Pingping's cheek as she leaned in. I told you, it's not what you think. Not what I think. Hehe. Lu Pingping raised an eyebrow. Look at yourself. Lin Daonan, I bet with you. If I lose, I'll give you 10,000 gold coins. If you lose, you don't have to pay, just apologize to my friend Chen Yu. Oh, tisk tisk tisk. Our Yuayu is so good at protecting her husband. Get lost. Su Miaoyu blushed and pushed Lu Pingping away with her head down. Lin Daonan, who was not far away, noticed the commotion and saw Su Miaoyu's shy expression. Anger and jealousy surged in his heart like a tide. He looked at Su Miaoyu with a gloomy face and said coldly, Su Xiaoshui, don't forget the 10,000 gold coins bet when Chen Yu comes out. Of course, I won't default on such a small amount of money. Su Miaoyu brushed aside her messy hair and said calmly. Disturbed by Lin Daonan, Lu Pingping also lost interest in teasing Su Miaoyu. Originally, they were one team, but now they were clearly divided into two groups. On one side were archer Lin Daonan and two warrior boys. On the other side were Su Miaoyu, knight Lu Pingping, mage Li Yanran, and healer Lu Zixin, 4 girls. It had been 2 hours since Chen Yu entered the instance. Lin Daonan speculated that the NPC soldiers guarding the village were about to give in. He had a confident smile on his face. This time, although he offended Su Miaoyu, being able to earn 10,000 gold coins was still a big gain. Time passed minute by minute. 2.5 hours, Chen Yu did not appear. 3 hours, Chen Yu still did not appear. Lin Daonan's smile gradually disappeared. 3.5 hours, Chen Yu was still inside the instance, and Lin Daonan's face became ugly. 4 hours, Chen Yu still hadn't left the instance, and Lin Daonan looked like a dead man. Until more than 5 hours later, Su Miaoyu stood up and walked in front of Lin Daonan, saying, "The village guards spawn every half hour, and the 10th wave of monsters refreshes in about 4.5 hours. Since Chen Yu hasn't come out yet, it means he has cleared the instance. Do you have anything else to say? Maybe he's just hiding. Clearing the instance. Absolutely impossible," Lin Daonan stubbornly argued. "Then let's continue waiting," Su Miaoyu sneered. Inside the instance. After nearly a day, Chen Yu finally wiped out all 27 goblin villages. In reality, most of the time was spent on traveling. The thorny spirits were fast, but they couldn't fly or teleport. A large amount of experience points allowed Chen Yu's level to reach 4,752%. In addition to experience points, there were also a lot of dropped items. Although goblins were poor, they could still drop some things when there were a lot of them. And every time a goblin village was wiped out, a reward chest would be obtained based on the situation. The beginner's backpack for professionals only has 10 slots, which has long been unable to hold everything. Now, in the unsurpassable sacred ground, a separate area has been designated for storing the loot from guarding the village instance. In addition, there is the income of merit points. Because the quality of monsters in the goblin village varies, the merit points obtained from extermination are also different. The strongest village is worth more than 800 merit points. In the weakest village, there are only 200 or 300 elderly, weak, sick, and disabled people. After extermination, only a few tens of merit points are obtained. The 27 goblin villages have brought Chen Yu a total of 9,000 merit points, plus the remaining points from guarding the village, making a total of 9,500 points. Chen Yu opened the exchange list and started scanning for goods. First is the long-awaited Toot City Leader Breeder Set. Toot City Leader Breeder Headgear. Quality: Epic. Level: 50. Restrictions: Beast Tamer, Planter, Spirit Master, and other breeding professions. Effect: Spirit plus 200. Toot City Leader Breeder Top. Quality: Epic. Level: 50. Restrictions: Beast Tamer, Planter, Spirit Master, and other breeding professions. Effect: Strength plus 100, Constitution plus 150, Spirit plus 50. Toot City Leader Breeder Pants. Quality: Epic. Level: 50. Restrictions: Beast Tamer, Planter, Spirit Master, and other breeding professions. Effect: Strength plus 100, Constitution plus 150, Spirit plus 50. Toot City Leader Breeder Boots. Quality: Epic. Level: 50. Restrictions: Beast Tamer, Planter, Spirit Master, and other breeding professions. Effect: Constitution plus 100, Spirit plus 100, Agility plus 100. Toot City Leader Breeder Gloves. Quality: Epic. Level: 50. Restrictions: Beast Tamer, Planter, Spirit Master, and other breeding professions. Effect: Constitution plus 50, Spirit plus 50, Agility plus 50. 5-piece set effect. All attributes plus 400, skill release consumption minus 50%. Set skill: Spring and Autumn Moment. Designate a combat creature in its infancy stage, seed or seedling, young beast or egg, initial spirit body, etc., instantly making it grow into its peak state, with a level equivalent to the breeder, lasting for 1 hour, with a cooldown of 1 day. Note: the infant will not be consumed and will return to its infant state after the peak state duration ends. The 5 equipment pieces together increase strength by 200, agility by 150, constitution by 450, and spirit by 450. Adding the set effect of all attributes plus 400, the attributes alone are already extremely exaggerated. As for the set skill Spring and Autumn Moment, it is an absolute treasure for breeders. The most difficult part for breeders is to cultivate a combat creature from infancy to adulthood, which requires a lot of time and resources. But this skill directly skips the breeding process and allows a powerful combat force to mature in advance. Although there is only 1 hour per day, it is already enough to be used as a regular ultimate move. After buying the set, Chen Yu took out the Mo Yun vine seeds and clicked to purchase. After spending 4,000 merit points to buy it twice, the exchange option dimmed and showed that the inventory was cleared. After completing the exchange, there were still 4,500 merit points left. Chen Yu closed the exchange list and took out the map. On the map, there is still one last unharvested area. That is the Goblin main city that is in opposition to Toot City. Hurry up and finish the last point, then retreat. The last Goblin village is already very close to the Goblin capital city. With Chen Yu on its back, the Thorn Spirit dashed all the way, and after half an hour, a low and short earthy city came into view. The city walls were not high, only about 4 or 5 meters, just a little higher than the Vanguard village. The wall surface was uneven, and some places were even crooked, as if it could collapse at any moment. However, compared to the Goblin village, it could already be considered magnificent. The Goblin village had no city walls at all, only a sparse fence. Goblins had low individual combat power and low intelligence. They only had 2 survival advantages. One was their ability to eat. Goblins could eat almost anything, even soil containing humus could fill their stomachs. The second was their ability to reproduce. Goblins could reproduce with almost all humanoid species. The gestation period was only a few weeks, and they could give birth to several or even more than 10 offspring in one pregnancy. From birth to adulthood, the goblins only needed less than a year, growing faster than leeks. It was almost impossible to expect goblins to have knowledge and civilization like humans. On the city walls of the Goblin capital, there were no gates, only a few 4 or 5 meter wide gaps. Some messy patrol teams were circling the city walls. From time to time, 1 or 2 would escape secretly. Based on this situation, it was probably only when the enemy's army arrived at the city that they would realize it too late. Xiao Feng, wake up. Chen Yu took Xiao Feng out of his pocket and poked her messy head. Quote? Xiao Feng tilted her head and looked at Chen Yu with a confused expression. It's time for you to show your skills. Chen Yu pointed at the Goblin capital city. That earthy city, do you see it? Destroy it and kill all the creatures inside. The area of the Goblin capital city was estimated to be more than 10 square kilometers. It would waste a lot of time to attack with plant life. Besides, if there were powerful bosses in the city, they might harm his plants and flowers. Wouldn't it be better to use a large-scale forbidden spell? Convenient and fast. Oh, Xiao Feng flew up from Chen Yu's hand in a dazed manner. She closed her eyes, stretched out her hands in front of her, and chanted strange syllables. A touch of green aura slowly condensed between her hands. On the quiet wasteland, a sudden gust of wind blew, lifting Chen Yu's clothes and making a rustling sound. After about 5 minutes, Xiao Feng's eyes flickered with green light, and her hands slowly pressed down. Endless wind pressure. In that instant, Chen Yu felt difficulty in breathing, as if the surrounding air had been sucked away. At the same time, the air above the Goblin capital city seemed to be burned by flames, gradually distorting. This was a visual distortion caused by a large amount of compressed air generating tremendous heat energy. The next moment, boom, with a muffled sound, the city wall of the Goblin capital city in front collapsed instantly. Boom, boom, boom. It was as if a huge invisible compactor appeared in the sky, repeatedly pounding the Goblin capital city. Starting from the first muffled sound, Chen Yu's mind was filled with a continuous stream of prompt sounds. Killed level 34 Goblin, experience plus 102. Killed level 51 Elite Goblin Warrior, experience plus 1020. Killed level 60 Boss Goblin Priest, experience plus 600,000. Killed level 63 Boss Demon Bishop, experience plus 630,000. Killed level 53 Enchanted Goblin, experience plus 318. Killed level 60 Boss Goblin Chieftain, experience plus 600000. ... Your level has increased to level 48. Hint: you have destroyed the Goblin capital, Toot City, and gained 5,000 merit points. 5 minutes later, a visible shockwave erupted above the Goblin capital, rapidly spreading outward. The surrounding vegetation and rocks were instantly destroyed, and the ground was upheaved for several jong. The dust and smoke brought by the shockwave plunged the entire world into darkness. Several minutes later, the blinding dust gradually dissipated. Chen Yu looked towards the direction of the Goblin capital. The entire capital seemed to have been flattened like a two-dimensional image by some regular weapon, turning into a flat portrait. Piles of red, unidentified objects were goblin corpses, compressed to the point where they could be directly canned. So terrifying, Chen Yu exclaimed. If Xiao Yan's forbidden spell, Judgment of Doomsday, was chaotic destruction without any rules, then Xiao Feng's endless wind pressure was more like the improvisation of a mad artist. Amidst the frenzy, there was a hint of near-perfect calmness and elegance. Chen Yu released plant life and walked into the silent goblin capital painting. The plant life didn't discriminate and would even eat the flesh embedded in the ground. If they couldn't dig it out, they would send their roots in and directly absorb the nutrients. Chen Yu looked around and leisurely admired this improvisation by Xiao Feng. Suddenly, he noticed a small three-dimensional protrusion in this two-dimensional painting. Probably in the center of the Goblin capital, there was a slightly elevated crimson barrier with a slight z-axis value. If one didn't look carefully, it would be easy to overlook. Dig that thing out for me. Chen Yu called two thorny spirits and pointed at the crimson barrier. The two thorny spirits received the order and immediately started working. A few minutes later, the crimson barrier revealed its complete form. It was a shield about 10 centimeters thick. Inside the shield lay a woman covered in blood. Because of her long hair, she could be considered a woman for now. After all, she was currently just a flattened human pancake, making it difficult to accurately determine her gender. Just then, the crimson shield dissipated. The 10-centimeter thick human pancake, as if someone was inflating it, swelled up. First, the head. The head returned to its round shape, and the flattened features regained their three-dimensionality. A few minutes later, the inflation of the human pancake was complete. It was a tall woman wearing a tight leather suit. Her wine-red, large wavy hair reached her waist. Her narrow, peach blossom eyes were lively and soul-stirring, exuding a captivating charm with every frown and smile. Her rosy lips were like burning flames, as if stained with fresh blood. Her figure was extremely exaggerated, with 2 areas of fat accumulation almost bursting out of her shirt and hot pants. Amidst the hotness, there was a hint of tranquility and darkness, like a blooming black tulip. At this moment, she was panting heavily, her expression filled with lingering fear. It was evident that she had suffered great trauma. After all, her thickest part had been compressed from 30 centimeters to just 10 centimeters. Chen Yu put on his detective eyes and used a probing spell on the woman. Abyss Lord. Yuna Sifu's critical condition. Template. Silver Boss. Level. 51. Attributes. Talent. Skills. Upon seeing the title of the woman, Chen Yu's heart stirred, and he took out a black badge from his backpack. Abyss Lord Badge. Explanation. A badge made by Abyss Lord Yuna Sievers, used to commend members of hostile forces who lead the way. With this badge, one can exchange for Abyss power from Yuna Sievers. After careful verification, Chen Yu confirmed that she was indeed the main character. However, looking at her half-dead appearance, it's estimated that even if she took out the badge, she wouldn't be able to exchange it for anything good. Although the badge is useless, she is at least a silver boss, with high quality. She should drop some good items. Above the template of a regular boss is a bronze boss. Above the bronze boss is a silver boss. Chen Yu showed an expectant expression and ordered the thorny spirit, kill her. Upon hearing this, 2 thorny spirits approached, their fingers turning into brown thorny vines. Wait, don't. Yuna Sievers, who was still trying to figure out what was happening, trembled all over and exclaimed in shock. She responded to the call of the fallen, descended into this world, and was ready to enjoy a rich sacrifice and corrupt more creatures. However, She hadn't even spoken a word yet, and she was directly smashed into minced meat by a terrifying forbidden curse. If it weren't for the tenacity of demon life, she would have turned into a pile of equipment by now. From the young man in front of her, she sensed two extremely powerful auras. One was as violent as the gusts blowing in the depths of the abyss, calm yet violent. When you are in it, and all your flesh and blood are blown away in an instant, you will understand its horror. Obviously, that was the person who had just released the forbidden curse. For a demon, begging for mercy is not shameful. Not to mention an abyss lord, even an abyss demon god would naturally kneel when encountering an enemy they can't defeat. Respected strong one, please spare my life temporarily. I still have something to say. Save it for your next life. Chen Yu waved his hand. The thorny vines in the hands of the thorny spirits whipped forcefully. Yuna Sievers was shocked and quickly put up a transparent red barrier. Crack. The vines struck hard, and the crimson barrier cracked like shattered glass, revealing countless spiderweb-like cracks. Don't. Let's talk. Seeing the vines about to strike again, Yuna Sievers' pupils contracted, and she quickly said, I have a mythical level skill book that automatically adapts to professions. If you spare me, I won't drop it. Killing me won't make it drop. Stop. Chen Yu raised his right hand. The two vines that were about to hit the red barrier froze in midair, as if someone had pressed the pause button. The vines were less than a meter away from the crimson barrier. You said you have a mythical skill book that automatically adapts to professions. Chen Yu said, show it to me. Phew. Seeing Chen Yu stop, Yuna Sievers took a deep breath, relaxed, and a captivating smile appeared on her lips. Her demeanor instantly changed from a startled little white rabbit to a lazy noblewoman. Great strong one, your power has won my respect. Therefore, I have decided to give you the opportunity to obtain a mythical skill. As long as you can complete a trivial task for you, you can obtain the highest unsurpassable mythical skill. Hint: Abyss Lord Yuna Sievers invites you to join the Abyss faction. At the same time, an invisible force enveloped Chen Yu. This force did not harm anyone but could disturb one's thinking and judgment. Deep in his heart, countless desires turned into fragmented images, swiftly passing through his mind. Power, authority, money, beautiful women. In the depths of his mind, a voice kept telling Chen Yu that as long as he obeyed the woman in front of him and followed in her footsteps, everything would become a reality in the not-too-distant future. However, Chen Yu's rationality told him that this, not-too-distant future, was too far away. According to his own rate of growth, it won't take him that long before he can do whatever he wants and have everything he desires. Chen Yu suddenly woke up and realized, there are always people who want to harm me. You villain, you actually want to slow down my rate of growth, you deserve to die. Just then, a faint green aura appeared, sweeping away the power of temptation. This is the aura of the World Tree. Of course, the help of the World Tree is unnecessary, as Chen Yu was not tempted at all. Just think, if I could obtain something in a year, but by investing in your embrace, Abyss Lord, I have to wait 10 years to get it. Is there anything more tempting than this? Reverse psychology. Abyss Lord 666. Chen Yu couldn't help but sneer. They say demons are good at tempting people, but it seems you haven't learned the essence. But, even in this situation, you dare to play tricks with me. No wonder you're called Abyss Lord, not shedding a tear even when seeing a coffin. Blow her up. The vines of two thorn spirits rose again. Wait, I said, even if you blow me up, you won't get the mythical skill. This task is really not difficult for you. Yuna Sievers was confused. She clearly felt that her seductive power had taken effect. But instead of complying, the other party became even angrier, wishing to kill her quickly. Could it be that his strongest desire is to kill me? Yuna Sievers was shocked. When did I offend him? What grudge do we have? The vines in the air struck down fiercely. Chen Yu coldly stared at Yuna Sievers, showing no intention of stopping. It is clearly stated in textbooks. Demons are good at instigating and tempting. They will not let go of any opportunity to tempt and corrupt people. Dealing with demons must be done with extreme caution. Absolutely cannot trust the empty words of demons. Wait, I'll give it to you. The skill book is right here. I'll give it to you now. When the vines shattered the crimson barrier and were about to touch Yuna Sievers' body, she shouted again. However, Chen Yu ignored her. Bang! A vine struck Una Seaver's shoulder, knocking her to the ground and spewing out a mouthful of light purple blood. Chen Yu caught the diamond-shaped crystal, but found that it was covered in a layer of red light and its attributes had changed. Mythical Level Adaptive Skill Book Sealed. Quality: 1 color mythical. Explanation: Abyss Lord Una Seavers is worried that you will go back on your word, so she added insurance for herself. Effect: cannot be used, transferred, or put into the backpack until the seal is lifted. Accept Una Seavers' task to lift the seal. Hint: Abyss Lord Una Seavers has issued a task to you. Task: spare Una Seavers. Task content: you cannot kill Una Seavers in this instance. Task failure: the mythical level adaptive skill book will be taken back. If it has been used, the mythical skill will be erased. Hint: your actions in the instance will not affect the progress of the instance. You can enter the settlement phase of the instance at any time. Chen Yu pondered for a moment and chose to accept the task. The benefits of exploding Una Seavers definitely couldn't compare to a mythical level occupational skill. You should know that rare level skills can already be sold at high prices. Epic level skills are even harder to come by. They are rarely seen on the market, and when they do appear in the auction house, they are sold for astronomical prices. As for mythical level skills, I've never even heard of them. Is it okay now? Chen Yu looked at Una Seavers. Phew, of course. Una Seavers patted her chest as if she had finally breathed a sigh of relief. With a flick of her finger, the red film on the diamond-shaped crystal instantly disappeared. Chen Yu held the crystal and didn't immediately choose to use it. Instead, he put it into the unsurpassable sacred ground to communicate with the world tree and let it make a judgment. How precious was a mythical level skill book? Could this demon really give it to him so easily and not leave any tricks behind? Who would believe that? Sure enough, the world tree quickly gave feedback. The diamond-shaped crystal didn't contain a mythical level skill at all, but a strand of Abyss Will. Using the crystal would activate the Abyss Will and probe the user. Based on the results of the probe, the Abyss would personally bestow a suitable mythical skill. During this process, the user's will would be eroded and corrupted by the Abyss Will, becoming a hound under the Abyss Will's feet. As expected, not a single word from the demon can be trusted. Una Seavers' various behaviors from the beginning were all to manipulate Chen Yu. She created an illusion for Chen Yu that she had to give up the mythical skill to save her life, or perhaps it was the truth. In the meantime, she seduced Chen Yu to change sides and issued tasks, making Chen Yu feel that this mythical skill book was hard to come by. Finally, when Chen Yu tasted the hard-earned fruit, the demon would reveal its true fangs. What a pity! Chen Yu regretfully took out the diamond-shaped crystal, ready to destroy it. Just then, he received another message from the world tree. Master, you can use this crystal. Oh, can you help me resist the corruption of the Abyss Will? Chen Yu's eyes lit up. Yes, the essence of the Abyss is on par with me. Although I am smaller in size, my will is intact, while the Abyss Will is just a negligible strand. It's not difficult to resist the corruption of the Abyss Will. Chen Yu was pleasantly surprised. Are you sure? If the Abyss Will suddenly intensifies, can you handle it? I'm sure. With a will that is 1,000th the size of mine, I can annihilate this strand of Abyss Will and cut off the communication link with the Abyss Will. Great. Chen Yu was overjoyed. If 1,000th was enough to deal with this strand, then even if the Abyss Will intensified, it wouldn't be able to defeat the world tree. Abyss Will in a white gourd. Just thinking about it makes me triumphant. Ahem. Oops, I misspoke. This is called facing the enemy's sugar-coated bullet, eating the sugar coating, and shooting the bullet back at the enemy. With the assurance of the world tree, Chen Yu decisively chooses to use the mythical level adaptive skill book. Crack. The diamond-shaped crystal shatters. Seeing this scene, Una Seavers' delicate face suddenly reveals an anomaly and a crazy smile. Her height suddenly increases to nearly 3 meters. Her fair skin transforms into a bright red color like magma, and 2 curved horns grow on top of her head. Her nails grow over an inch long, sharp as divine weapons. Behind her waist, 2 pairs of huge bat wings unfold. At her buttocks, a 3-meter-long pale white tailbone extends, with a triangular arrowhead-like barb at the tip. This is her true form as an abyss demon, wild and enchanting. Oh, supreme and unsurpassable abyss! You humble servant, Una Seavers, here, I offer myself to you. A human genius with the potential to reach the divine level, is about to enter your vast embrace. Descend. Great will of the abyss. A red halo envelops Chen Yu. Chen Yu feels that everything around him suddenly loses color. The sky and the earth are becoming darker, darker, and darker, eventually turning into pure and profound black. It's like a universe of death and annihilation, or a black hole from which even light cannot escape. In the boundless darkness and silence, time has lost its meaning. It's unknown how long has passed. Perhaps it was an instant, or perhaps it was the birth and death of a world. At the end of the darkness, a humanoid figure composed of white light appears. Immediately, as if the camera switched, the white light figure is already standing in front of Chen Yu, gazing deeply at him. The white light figure has no eyes, but Chen Yu keenly feels that it is staring at him. Even more, Chen Yu can share its emotions. Surprise, astonishment, disbelief, joy, sorrow, loneliness. Like countless pigments mixed in a dye vat, complex emotions gradually calm down and turn into a thick attachment and reliance. This is the will of the world tree. Chen Yu also has an unparalleled sense of familiarity and trust towards the white light figure. This sense of familiarity and trust is limited to the world tree alone. It is the close connection between the planter and their own plant, inseparable and unbreakable. After a moment, the white light figure is filled with anticipation, using both hands to hold Chen Yu's cheeks, bringing its head close to Chen Yu's, their heads touching. Chen Yu feels as if there are two warm lips meeting his own. Then, an inexplicable power is transmitted from the white light figure into his body. The white light figure gradually becomes ethereal, starting to fade away from solidity. It doesn't make any movements, just silently gazing at Chen Yu, as if enjoying the last moment of time. At this moment, a taller white light figure appears beside Chen Yu. Chen Yu suddenly turns his head. He can also sense the emotions of this white light figure. Different from the smaller white light figure, its emotions reveal indifference, rationality, and scrutiny. And the same reliance and attachment towards Chen Yu as the smaller white light figure. Strangely, Chen Yu also feels a deep sense of familiarity and trust towards this newly appeared white light figure, coming from the depths of his soul. If the white light figure that transmitted power to me is the will of the world tree, then what is this new one? Which one is the true will of the world tree? In the endless darkness, time and space seemed to be frozen. Chen Yu had countless doubts in his heart, but he could only be a spectator. The first to appear was a smaller humanoid figure made of white light, almost dissipating. It gently bowed to the larger humanoid figure that appeared later, conveying gratitude and friendliness. Then, it looked at Chen Yu again. At this moment, Chen Yu seemed to see a pair of eyes that had experienced the vicissitudes of time. They contained the wisdom of time, but also carried a passionate and crazy, indomitable will that could never be extinguished. Chen Yu vaguely felt that he was familiar with these eyes. Whose eyes are these? He searched through his 2 lifetimes, but his memories were not rich enough. Even if he used a knife to pierce every memory cell, he couldn't remember to whom these eyes belonged. Who are you? Chen Yu could only do his best to convey his thoughts to the white humanoid figure in front of him. He didn't know if the other party could perceive it, but the strong curiosity in his heart urged him to express his own will as much as possible. The white figure seemed to sense Chen Yu's inner thoughts and responded in its own way. However, it didn't answer Chen Yu's question. Instead, it lifted Chen Yu's face and kissed him again. Its figure shattered from the tip of its toes, falling into small patches of light like toy building blocks. Seemingly aware of its imminent disappearance, its kiss became more affectionate and passionate, as if it wanted to express and confide its endless thoughts to Chen Yu. But despite having 1,000 words, they were blocked by an inexplicable barrier. Clearly within reach, yet seemingly distant in time and space. Until the last moment, the white figure completely dissipated, and even the patches of light it left behind lost their brightness, returning to darkness. Immediately after, the dark world began to crack with scattered fissures. Crack. The boundless darkness shattered like glass. The flat goblin main city scroll appeared before Chen Yu once again. Hint. Congratulations, esteemed professional, you have obtained the supreme level skill, Devotion of the Abyss. Supreme Devotion of the Abyss. Regardless of when and where, you can summon the Abyss's great will at any time, exhausting its own existence to resolve crises for you. Note. This skill can be used one more time with each job change. Current usable times. 1. Explanation. You have not yet met him, but he has always loved you deeply. He waits at the end of time, at the end of reincarnation, only to remember you again. Supreme level, devotion of the abyss. Who are you, really? Chen Yu murmured as he looked at the skill description. What kind of existence is the abyss? He arrived with the advent of the era of national job changes. After countless ages, only a glimpse of his true nature has been revealed. But even this glimpse is a towering peak that stands before countless talented professionals, none daring to cross it. The true abyss is vast and boundless, its magnificence immeasurable. Countless unspeakable existences reside within. The skill, devotion of the abyss, represents the supreme and unsurpassable will of the abyss, doing everything possible to help Chen Yu. It can be said that this is a true, get out of death-free card. As long as there are remaining uses, no one can threaten Chen Yu's life. However, Chen Yu did not feel excited or satisfied after obtaining such a skill. In this world, is there really love without reason? Who is Abyss's will, the white light figure? Where does that deep love come from? Love may not know where it starts, but the source must be the encounter between the two. But Chen Yu can be sure that he has never had any interaction with Abyss. The love from Abyss is too heavy, almost suffocating him. Ha ha ha. A burst of wild laughter interrupted Chen Yu's thoughts. He snapped back to reality and saw a 3-meter-tall, red-skinned female demon reveling in her own joy. What are you laughing at? Is there something funny here? Chen Yu said coldly. I'm celebrating. Yuna Severs spread her arms and embraced Chen Yu from a distance. Congratulations, future demon god, for surrendering to the embrace of Abyss. Look, the great will of Abyss is personally guiding you. Yuna Severs pointed to the sky. What a great and delightful honor. Chen Yu looked up and saw a huge illusory eyeball slowly appearing in midair. Is this eyeball the will of Abyss? If this eyeball is the will of Abyss, then what was the white light figure just now? The supreme level skill on the skill panel can't be a lie. While contemplating, a red light radiated from the pupil of the illusory eyeball, enveloping Chen Yu. At the same time, a crazy and chaotic power entered Chen Yu's body along with the red light. Hint: acquired mythical level skill, Embrace of the Abyss. Mythical Embrace of the Abyss. Choose a plant life and turn it into an abyss life, increasing all attributes by 100% and gaining the skill, Demonization. Note: this skill has no level and automatically advances with professional experience. Note: this skill consumes the special attribute, Abyss Magic. Hint: you have acquired the special attribute, Abyss Magic. Note: Abyss Magic cannot be obtained by allocating free attribute points and can be supplemented by killing Abyss monsters or learning fundamental Abyss spells. Along with acquiring the skill, a tremendous force of will began to crazily erode Chen Yu's self-will. Countless mad whispers, penetrating to the bone, resounded in his ears, comforting him, enlightening him, commanding him, begging him, urging him to submit to the great abyss and surrender to its embrace. Countless shattered scenes unfolded before his eyes, with mountains of corpses, rivers of blood, wealth and beautiful women, and the highest throne. If Yuna Severs' seduction was like a child's BB gun, then the seduction of Abyss's will was like a high-yield fusion bomb. No, it couldn't be called seduction, it was already forced transformation. With his own determination, he could resist the seduction of demons, but he was absolutely unable to resist the transformation of Abyss's will. Come, come, become one of us. Ahahaha. Yuna Severs laughed maniacally. Just then, a faint green figure suddenly appeared by Chen Yu's side. It was a long-haired girl. She wore a loose dress made of tender leaves, but it couldn't hide her bulging fertility. The faint green girl patted Chen Yu's shoulder. A transparent film enveloped Chen Yu, isolating the red light. In the next moment, the girl's figure flashed and appeared in front of the giant eye in the sky. She clenched her right fist and punched the center of the illusory eye's pupil. Silently, the illusory eye shattered instantly and dissipated into nothingness. Ha ha ha, ha. On the ground, Yuna Severs' smile abruptly disappeared. How is this possible? No, this is absolutely impossible. She stared blankly at the pale green girl, her eyes filled with disbelief. Unsurpassable, this is the last barrier established deep within the heart of every demon by the Abyss will. All demons are fanatical followers of the abyss. The pale green girl shattered the illusory eyeball, undoubtedly breaking her supreme faith that had persisted since her birth. Are you surprised? Chen Yu said calmly. Yuna Sievers exclaimed, What is it? Who are you? You don't need to know. Now, you should think about what you can do to redeem your life. Chen Yu's gaze was threatening. Several thorny spirits understood and immediately surrounded her. They looked ready to explode at any moment. After obtaining the mythical skill, Chen Yu had a guess. The white humanoid figure in the dark world earlier was the Abyss Will. The illusory giant eye just now was also the Abyss Will. However, there were differences between the Abyss Wills. The white humanoid figure and the illusory giant eye were not the same existence. The illusory giant eye was the hidden poison of Yuna Sievers. The white humanoid figure, for unknown reasons, appeared because of the existence of this poison, revealing its presence to Chen Yu and expressing its will. In other words, the white humanoid figure came to him willingly. The illusory giant eye was the target of Chen Yu and the World Tree's conspiracy. The outcome was satisfactory, successfully obtaining a mythical level skill. However, Yuna Sievers was unaware. She only saw the illusory giant eye being shattered and would never have thought that it had been robbed. In other words, she didn't know that the task she had previously issued was still valid, and if Chen Yu killed her, he would lose a mythical skill. Gurgle. Yuna Sievers swallowed her saliva and quickly shrank from her 3-meter-tall form back into the appearance of a human woman. Thud. She knelt in front of Chen Yu, bowing her head to the ground. Respected Strong One, I beg you to spare my life. I am just a lowly abyss demon, unworthy of dirtying your noble hands. You won't dirty my hands, you will only become their fertilizer. Chen Yu pointed to his plant life, they are very interested in you. If you can't produce something good, I will have to kill you and loot your belongings. Sir, Yuna Sievers smiled flatteringly, I can let you experience the ultimate pleasure. Perhaps you don't know, many human males are willing to risk their lives for a night of pleasure with a female demon. Although I am not a succubus, I can still make you experience that pleasure. You can play however you want, as long as you spare me. Saying that, Yuna Sievers weakly patted her chest, trying her best to show off her exaggerated and trembling charm. Are you made of gold or diamonds? So valuable, Chen Yu angrily said, hurry up and hand over your stuff, or don't blame me for being heavy-handed. What a joke, was he that kind of person? Even if he wanted to experience it, he would have to fleece the sheep clean before experiencing it, right? Sir, I really can't produce any more high-value items. Seeing that Chen Yu showed no intention of agreeing, Yuna Sievers directly spread her hands, choosing to act pitiful, as if she was willing to be killed or dismembered. I am just a clone, even if you kill me, you won't get anything good. A clone, of course, just a clone, Yuna Sievers said with a bitter smile. Demons who can obtain the Lord title and be prefixed with Abyss or at least level 401 or above diamond bosses. Do you think my combat power is like a true Abyss Lord? Indeed, it doesn't seem like it, Chen Yu nodded, thinking that what she said made sense. How could a mighty Abyss Lord be so weak? It seems that Yuna Sievers really can't squeeze out any more power. Just as Chen Yu was about to count his gains and settle the instance, Yuna Sievers spoke again. Due to the rules, if you want to gain benefits from me, you can only do so by joining the Abyss faction and earning merits to exchange. I can use my authority to adjust the prices to the lowest and maximize the amount of merits you can obtain. Merits, how do I obtain them? Chen Yu looked at Yuna Sievers. It's by annihilating the villages and main cities of the human empire. Yuna Sievers stared at Chen Yu's expression, cautiously saying. Chen Yu suddenly remembered the good cavalrymen who were mistakenly killed when he was farming the rebel army boss, Kosti. The Heavenly Tao prompt informed him that he belonged to the Toot City faction at that time, so he couldn't obtain the kill rewards. In other words, if he joins the Abyss faction, the people from the Toot City faction will turn into monsters, allowing him to obtain experience and equipment drops. Alright, invite me to change factions now, Chen Yu said to Yuna Sievers. What? Yuna Sievers looked at Chen Yu in astonishment. She was already prepared to be killed, but she didn't expect Chen Yu to actually agree to her proposal. However, she reacted quickly and immediately sent a faction invitation to Chen Yu. Hint: Abyss Lord Yuna Sievers invites you to join the Abyss faction. Yes, Chen Yu chose to confirm. Hint: you still have unredeemed Toot City merits. Changing factions will cause your Toot City merits to become invalid. Are you sure? Wait, Chen Yu quickly denied and then opened the Toot City merit redemption list. Previously, he had redeemed a planter set and 2 Mo Yun vine seeds, leaving him with 4,500 merits. By annihilating the Goblin main city, he gained 5,000 merits, bringing the total to 9,500. These merit redemption items were quite valuable. Especially the building blueprints. Some large guilds, noble families, and even the official organization were willing to pay a high price for them. Additionally, the Vitality Potion was also a good item. The Transcendent level Vitality Potion restores 1% of mental power and physical strength per second for 100 seconds. In 100 seconds, it can fully revive a combat-disabled professional, making it an essential divine weapon for survival. Moreover, its value increases as one reaches the late stage. After careful consideration, Chen Yu began the redemption process. Toot City Wall Blueprint Rare possesses a certain amount of magical defense and physical defense, as well as extremely high durability. Value: 2,000 merits. Vanguard Defense Tower Blueprint Rare possesses a certain amount of magical defense and physical defense, high durability, and has 3 slots for long-range professions to station in. Increases damage, reduces skill cooldown, and skill cost for the stationed long-range professions. Value: 3,000 merits. Transcendent level Vitality Potion * 45, value: 4,500 merits. After the redemption was completed, the Toot City merits became 0, and Chen Yu chose to change factions. Hint: you have joined the Abyss faction. Changing factions does not affect instance progress, and you can still settle instances at any time. Hint: Abyss Lord Yuna Sievers has opened the Abyss faction exchange list for you. Hint: Abyss Lord Yuna Sievers has opened the upgrade and exchange permissions for you. You can exchange anywhere. Are you really prepared to annihilate Toot City? Yuna Sievers asked tentatively. She couldn't believe that Chen Yu, a terrifying existence who could defeat even the will of the Abyss, would so easily betray her faction. Of course, Chen Yu mounted the thorny spirit. Even without the merit exchange, he would still go and annihilate. This has nothing to do with factions. For professionals, the monsters in instances are there to be killed. If he doesn't take the opportunity to gain experience, gold, and equipment, how can he justify the 7-day instance cooldown? Half a day has passed, and with the destruction of a magnificent city, the entire instance is now empty. Your level has increased to level 49. Your level has increased to level 50. Hint: your level has reached the limit. Before completing the job change, the experience you gain will be stored in a temporary experience pool. Hint: you have destroyed the city of Toot and gained 10,000 Abyss faction honor points. After clearing the entire instance, Chen Yu's level finally reached level 50. Level 50 is the maximum level for novice players. The level cap will only be raised again after completing the job change quest and advancing to the first transformation. Chen Yu opened the Abyss faction exchange list with satisfaction. Under Yuna Sievers' authority, the prices of items in the Abyss faction exchange list were much lower than those in Toot City. Moreover, there were more good things that could be exchanged compared to the exchange list in Toot City. After using up the Abyss honor points, Chen Yu obtained a set of accessories, a seed, and several restorative potions. Demon Whisper Bracelet. Quality: Epic. Level: 50. Effect: all attributes plus 200, damage reduction plus 5%. Demon Whisper Necklace. Quality: Epic. Level: 50. Effect: all attributes plus 300, final damage plus 5%. Demon Whisper Ring X2. Quality: Epic. Level: 50. Effect: all attributes plus 100, magic damage plus 500, final damage plus 2%. 4-piece set effect. Demon's Descent. Sacrifice 10,000 gold coins, 1,000 low-level magic crystals, and randomly summon a level 100 normal boss, Abyss Demon, who will launch indiscriminate attacks on all units within sight. Duration of the demon: 1 hour. Cooldown: 3 days. Underworld Flower Seed X1. A seed of the epic plant Higanbana, which is said to originate from the banks of the underworld and guides the kings to the afterlife. Alchemy Demon Potion X20. can be used by units below level 200 to instantly restore 100% health, mental power, and stamina. Units with Abyss power can restore 1 point of Abyss power. Units without Abyss power will be corroded by Abyss power after use. Explanation. It is said to be the masterpiece of a certain female demon lord. Due to the alchemical materials containing the bodily fluids of the female demon lord, it is often fiercely fought over by male demon lords. The 4 epic accessories cost 4,000 Abyss honor points. 1 epic underworld flower seed is worth 12,000 Abyss honor points. The price of 1 alchemy demon potion is 500 honor points, totaling 10,000 points. In terms of attribute benefits alone, there are even better accessory sets in the Abyss exchange list. What caught Chen Yu's attention was the summoning effect of the Demon Whisper accessory set. For a level 50 professional, summoning a demon is nothing more than a disruptive skill or a self-destructive skill. In chaotic situations, releasing an unknown boss like this often has a miraculous effect. When facing a strong enemy, this skill can also be used to summon a boss and perish together with the enemy. However, Chen Yu planned to use this skill as a source of Abyss power. The embrace of the Abyss skill requires Abyss power to create Abyss-converted plants, and there are not many good ways to replenish it other than killing demons. The Demon Whisper 4-piece set is just a timely help. Chen Yu put on the Toot City set and the Demon Whisper set, and looked at his attribute panel. Profession: Planter mutated. Level: 50, 0%. Strength: 12 plus 1300. Agility: 13 plus 1250. Physical constitution: 255 plus 1550. Spirit: 270 plus 1550. Abyss magic: 5. Free attribute points: 0. Additional attributes: final damage plus 9%, damage reduction plus 5%. Talents: absolute enhancement, unsurpassable level, designate a target for absolute enhancement, which includes but is not limited to life, items, skills, talents. Occupational passive: unsurpassable sacred ground LV1. Open an unsurpassable sacred ground, where plant life planted within it will be greatly strengthened. Each time you change occupations, you can designate a plant as your life plant, which will undergo a profound transformation and instantly mature. Skills: accelerated growth LV9. Slightly increase the growth speed of plant life. Plant enhancement LV7. Increase all attributes of plant life by 70% for 100 seconds, with a cooldown of 380 seconds. Highest devotion of the Abyss. Regardless of time or place, you can summon the Great Will of the Abyss at any time, sacrificing your own existence to resolve crises for you. Note: this skill can be used 1 more time each time you change occupations. Current usable times: 1. Mythical Embrace of the Abyss. Choose a plant life and abyssify it, increasing all attributes by 100% and gaining the skill, Abyssification. Indeed, there's a saying that goes, Buddha relies on gold equipment. Chen Yu sighed. With 2 epic sets equipped, even a small stone statue can instantly transform into a golden Buddha. The addition of over 1,000 attribute points made him feel incredibly powerful. Settle the instance, Chen Yu commanded. The entire instance had already been thoroughly cleared, and there was nothing worth lingering for. Yuna Sievers, trembling in some corner, was perhaps the only surviving creature in the instance. It was only because she had used the mythical skill that Chen Yu spared her life. Hint: entering the instance settlement phase. The scene before Chen Yu suddenly began to lose color and dim. Everything around him froze in this moment. Instance settlement in progress. Instance difficulty: real. Instance completion: 100%. Instance exploration: 1000%. Comprehensive evaluation: SSS. Profit settlement: gold plus 1200, experience plus 1500000, free attribute points plus 150, skill points plus 20, legendary level instance treasure chest plus 1. Hint: due to your perfect completion of this instance in real mode for this instance will be permanently closed. Settlement complete. A portal appeared in front of Chen Yu. Stepping out of the portal, Chen Yu found himself in the instance square of River Sun High School. Having not slept for 2 consecutive days and nights, he felt not the slightest bit tired, but rather extremely excited. The profits from this instance were truly astonishing, enough to be called a sudden fortune. At this moment, there weren't many professionals in the instance square. Most of the professional teams had already finished clearing the instance and left. Those who remained were mostly those who had been delayed by something and were now catching up. Chen Yu didn't pay attention to others and went straight back to his dormitory. After locking the door, he entered the unsurpassable sacred ground. Under the world tree, the chests and dropped items had piled up into a small mountain. At the peak of the item mountain was the legendary level instance treasure chest, shimmering with orange light. Chen Yu took down the treasure chest and eagerly opened it. Instantly, a dazzling orange light shot up into the sky. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.